Welcome to Fringe Fanatics with Chad Lee and Chris Zane.
And we are back. It is episode 16 of Fringe Fanatics. It is Tuesday, 12/20. I am Chris Zane.
And I am Chad Lee. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thank you guys. We really appreciate you all. It's been cool seeing all the people filter in over the weeks. We're getting a little bit more views, a little more followers, so it's slowly percolating.
Yep, it's building. It's building.
Definitely. And speaking on the socials, if you guys can, and if you're listening on whatever you're listening or watching on now, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe or follow button and make sure to leave us a rating. And if you can and haven't yet, please go and follow us on all things social media. Also, we do have a link tree now. It is linktr.ee/fringe_fanatics. I know that's kind of a lot, but we always post a link. We're also taking donations there, and that's a great way also to see where all we're at, like in terms of streaming and being able to listen to us. So go check out our link tree, and let's get into our week. Chad, how was your week?
It was good, man. I had a good weekend. We had kind of an eventful one. We went to her company holiday party, Care Points.
Nice.
Very fancy, I'm not going to lie. I felt a little out of place there at a healthcare company.
We usually do.
We definitely do. I was on the fringe of that holiday party for
Yeah.
sure. I went there in a suit, and it was pretty cool. They had really nice food, and I just keep talking about this because they had a casino thing all set up, and I got stuck on the blackjack table, man. I love it. Anytime it's fake money, I'll gamble nonstop.
Yeah. Did you get anything for winning all the fake money?
No. I gambled so much. I even had strangers just walking around me, seeing my pile of chips here. I mean, I hit blackjack like 4 times in a row. I'm not going to lie. I was like on a roll.
Yeah.
I guarantee if it was real money, I would have been sucking it up.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like people were walking up like, damn, you're doing good. And then afterwards, the chips translates to raffle tickets, and I've got a stack of raffle tickets. They were giving away stuff like an Apple Watch, AirPods, $250 gift cards, and a knife set. And I really went all in on like the stuff I wanted: the Apple Watch, the knife set, and a few other things.
Didn't win shit.
Didn't win shit. There were literally people there that won 5 or 6 items. Like they won multiple. Like one person won like 3 or 4 times.
Lucky motherfuckers.
There was 192 people there. What?
Yeah.
I think it's rigged. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right.
It was messed up, man. But aside from that, we had a great time. And then Saturday, we went to go see Avatar 2. So
nice.
That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, you said that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
so
it really
have
was.
to check that one out. I haven't been to the movies in so long, since like before the pandemic.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go. I like
why
going to
go?
movies. Yeah, I'm a sucker for it, man. It basically Marvel movies. I want to see the new John Wick coming out in March. Like, I'm just a sucker for movies, man. Like growing up in my small town in Parsons, like everybody knows there wasn't shit to do, so that was kind of what we had to do.
Movie
So
theater, yeah.
I've had a fondness for it for a while.
No, I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my week was all right. I mean, I was batching it this weekend, so Meryl went with her mom to go visit her nephew, so I was alone.
Sweet.
Me and the old cat were hanging out. And then, Saturday did the family, like, Christmas party, I guess, where we did, like, a white elephant and stuff.
Oh, that's who that was.
Hello. Forgot to silence my phone. Look at that.
Who was
Amateur
that?
hour. That's my work dad.
Oh, okay.
Pepe.
Pepe.
But, yeah, did
That's
that,
cool.
and then... that's where actually we got this Avalanche hat, won that in the white elephant.
Nice. That was a good score.
Yeah,
it's a good addition to the studio,
Fits
too.
right in for the holidays, too.
I love calling this room the studio now.
The studio, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a work office anymore.
No, it's a studio. We have studio lights, so it's a studio now.
I mean, we got foam up, and it's pretty legit.
Yeah, man, we're moving on up.
Well, good. I'm glad you had a good weekend.
What's your plan for the holidays coming up? But speaking of which, we're going to have to talk about the holidays in the show. We might have some changes.
Yeah, we might have a guest spot. We're not really sure, but me and Hannah are heading back. I'm going to go to my hometown in Parsons, Kansas, visit some family. Really looking forward to that. Then after that, on 26th, we'll drive up to her hometown of Lexington, Missouri. Right outside.
Misery.
Yeah. Right outside of Kansas City, and then spend some time with her family, and then we'll head back next Thursday.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's why there might be some differences next week. We're not exactly sure what's going to happen. Might do like a like a guest, a guest host, I guess, or I might do a solo show. We're not sure yet. We're gonna play it by ear, but I will be here. I'm not leaving.
Yep, he's dedicated.
I don't go anywhere. I'm here. So you will see me more than likely. I don't think we're gonna take a week off. We don't really want to, but maybe we will. It is the holidays.
I mean, sports doesn't take a week off, so I don't see why
they
we
don't.
should.
I mean, the Broncos are playing on Christmas Day on Nickelodeon, so
that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I want to see those SpongeBob field goals, man. That's what I want.
But yeah, so I mean, in terms of my holiday stuff, I'm just doing the Christmas on the family on Sunday. So other than that, that's about it.
Nice.
Laying low, keeping it in the same area codes that I normally stick to.
Nice. Yeah, every year I alternate what I go back for, either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and so next year I'll go back for Thanksgiving, and then I'll be home for Christmas, or be here for Christmas. So I will be able to do the podcast next year.
Well, yeah, you're letting us down, but we'll let it slide this time.
Yeah, it's my first vacation day from it already. Well, what do you say we get into this leadoff shot?
Let's do it, man. Here's
finishing off the proper number 12.
Yeah, here's to this week's episode 16. Here's to the holidays.
I think that makes 4 months, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's 4 months.
Pretty much, man.
Damn, man.
Rolling right along.
Months. Well, and here's to you guys. Any of you that have been here from the start or just hopping on the train. Cheers to you guys, too.
Happy holidays.
I said trade weird, but I don't care.
Using my Chief shot glass this week because it was good luck using the KU one. They had a huge game after I used that shot glass.
Still used by New Orleans Voodoo shot glass.
I know it. I actually tried looking for some either CU Buffs shot glasses.
You know what we need to get? Custom-made Fringe Fanatic shot glasses.
We definitely do, man. That needs to happen. That's why you guys need to donate. We want merch.
Yeah, and we need dumb shit to sell you guys.
Yeah, because we know
give
you
us your money, and then we'll put it back into the show, and
then
get
you can
you
buy
dumb
it back.
shit to buy with other monies.
That's
cycle. What we need.
It's a great cycle.
The never-ending cycle.
Yep. Well, some of these guests that we've had on to do these bias buzzer beaters, I'm sure we'll probably get some comped merch coming forward because they've helped us out so much.
Definitely.
So speaking of that, our guest today is a guy that's been on the show before, Mr. Charlie Gashi. He is going to... Yeah, he's got a pretty cool last name. It's kind of unique. I had never heard that when he told me it. But
can we call him Gashi 6'9"?
Dude, that's fucking funny. I can't wait till he hears this.
He's Gashi 6'9" now.
He's going to have rainbow hair coming forward.
He's going to snitch, too.
So to remind you guys... Oh, my God. That's great. To remind you guys, he is a Vikings fan, and so when I was thinking of who to cover the bias buzzer beater again, who else better than him when they had a 33-point comeback, NFL's biggest comeback in history. He just seemed like the perfect person to come on instead of covering goddamn my Chiefs barely beating the Texans or your team beating a third-string Cardinals quarterback.
They had to really try, though, so I could have talked about it.
I know you could have. Trace McSorley almost beat you.
Good old McSorley.
Yep. All right, so what do you say?
Let's give Charlie a call. Alexa, make it happen.
Hey, Alexa, call Charlie.
As a Prime member, you now get Amazon Music's full catalog of 100
What,
million
dude?
songs.
That is, see, don't see. Let me do it. You're not locked in.
Shuffling Make It Happen and similar songs on Amazon Music.
Oh, yeah.
What? Hey, Alexa,
Keep playing that.
call Charlie.
Calling Charlie.
We're going to get kicked off fucking YouTube by playing music. Jesus Christ, that was funny.
And I can't talk to Alexa anymore.
Hey,
Charlie, what's up, man?
how much? How's it going, Chad?
It's going good. We got Chris here, too.
What's up, Charlie? We came up for a new nickname for you because Chad told me your last name was Gashi.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're Gashi 6'9" now. From now on.
Gashi 6'9".
Yeah, you're Gashi 6'9".
Pronounced Gaucher, but
Oh, really? I messed it up then. I thought it was Gashi. So
dude.
it's Gaucher?
Gaucher. Well, then that changes everything.
Gaucher. But honestly, that's we discovered recently that might just be my grandma invented that pronunciation. So Gashi might actually be the real pronunciation.
Oh, so Chad just went phonetic on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I've got that with my last name. It's Ray, but it's spelled Rhea, so I was always Chris Rhea in school, so I'd feel it.
Yeah. So, hey, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. I mean, what better week to have you on after that heart attack you might have suffered, last Saturday.
Oh man, I mean it's every week at this point with the Vikings. It's outrageous. But yeah, heart attack is exactly the way I was going to describe it.
Are you getting the timer ready?
I am getting the timer ready.
Well, I feel you, man. With you and I are in the same, where our teams have a good offense, but damn, do they have a bad defense. So every week we just have to take some, maybe, I don't know, some type of medication, blood pressure medication.
Tranquilizers.
Yeah, seriously.
They both have a really bad habit of playing close games against teams that they should not be playing close.
It sucks, man. It really does. But
I enjoyed it when they played a close game against the Broncos, but
yeah, we're past that, okay?
No,
We're past
I'm
that.
bringing it on. We got to win this week.
All right, man. Give us your best 2 minutes rant on that amazing comeback win, Charlie.
Starting now.
I mean, sooner or later, these Vikings, they're going to be the death of me. My blood pressure is just through the roof every week. I mean, I could go down the list the whole season of all the crazy games they've played. Week 3 against the Lions was nuts, win on a last-second touchdown. Week 4, in London against the Saints, there were 5 lead changes in the fourth quarter, and the Saints almost tied up at the buzzer on a 61-yarder, but double doink it. Week 10 was a 10-point comeback against the Commanders in the fourth quarter. Week 10 was that was Week 9 against the Commanders. Week 10 was the Bills game, which we already talked about on this podcast. But I mean, what we're really here to talk about is that Week 15 game against the Colts that just happened. I mean, absolute insanity. The biggest comeback in NFL history now. No one's ever overcome a 33-point deficit. And the only way you get to a 33-point deficit is digging yourself into a massive hole. I mean, the punt block touchdown, pick 6 by Kirk Cousins. You have a scoop and score by Chandon Sullivan that gets overturned on this terrible forward progress call where the guy's still fighting for yards. They rip it out, but they called him down. You can't overturn that on the review. They had 0 third-down conversions in the entire first half. So, yeah, you're down 33-0 at halftime, and you need 5 touchdowns to come back and win this thing, and they managed to pull it off. I mean, monster games by KJ Osborne, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, all the skill players were on fire. Thielen got a touchdown, too. But they managed to come back from the 33-point deficit despite the fact that the Colts scored in the second half. They had 3 unsuccessful drives before the tie game with a punt, an interception, and a turnover on downs. And they had a second nullified scoop and score by Chandon Sullivan on another terrible call where they called him down by contact, which is not even close again. I mean, but despite all of that, they managed to pull this thing off. And yeah, I mean, these Vikings, they're just going to kill me one of these days. Like, it's like that bit in the ED commercials where they're like, ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sexual activity. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough to watch Vikings games.
Nice. That's a good one.
Every week at this point.
And that's it,
man. That's it.
Nice. Well done, man. That was a good little bit right there. Ask your doctor. I feel the same way, man.
For real. Like, I'm worried about my grandma. She's like in her 80s now. She's watching these games every week. And like,
oh, what? Is she a Vikings fan?
He is, yeah.
That's cool.
She texted me after the game. She asked if I turned it off at halftime. I was like, nope. I watched every second of that thing because, man, this year it's like just nothing can hold these guys down.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I was watching it because I had a lot of fantasy playoff implications in that game, and
Sure.
yeah, I was playing against Justin Jefferson in the first half. I'm thinking, okay, he's got
Easy
3
win.
points. I got this. And then, of course, he comes through again. So I've written down a few things I wanted to talk to you about, and that is the first thing I'll bring up is, man, Justin Jefferson, the last time you were on, we talked about how he had that probably still catch of the year. And again, he comes through again and hits the catch that sets him up with field goal range. Because, I mean, if he doesn't make that last catch, I mean, that probably would have been like, what, maybe a 53, 55-yard field goal?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, yeah, he's down there fighting for extra yards at the end of it, too.
Yep.
I mean, man, he took some huge hits in that game, too.
He did.
I mean, Kevin O'Connell commented on it after the game. He's starting to worry that guys are, like, targeting him specifically because it's seemingly like every week he's getting these huge hits on plays. But, man, to come back into the game and then, yeah, he's still fighting for extra yards and all of that, it's, oh, man. Dude's just, you can't hold him down.
he's a baller, man. I mean, just the clutch plays that he makes.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically guaranteed to catch the ball if you throw it to him. Yeah, in big situations. It's crazy.
He really is.
It does seem to be consistently, you know, those biggest moments with everything on the line when you need it the most. That's when they go to him and he gets it done.
Crazy stat on the Colts. They have been outscored 69-9 in the second half of their last 2 games.
Holy. Wow.
Yeah, everyone's cracking the jokes about Saturday on Saturday.
Yeah,
that was pretty
changing
funny.
his name to Jeff Wednesday.
Yeah, seems like they can get it done in the first half, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing. To engineer a comeback like that, you need the other team to just fold in colossal fashion.
And they did, man. I mean, it's like when you guys started to make the comeback, you could see it. I mean, clear as day where they were rattled. They couldn't do anything on offense. And when it came to defense, I mean, you guys just started to move the ball. And, I mean, they were on their heels. They were scared.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, and part of it too, I mean, the reason they even were able to put points on the board in the first half was the Vikings just kept gifting them really, really great field position.
Oh, yeah.
And turnovers and going for it on 4th and 1 and on their own 30-yard line 2 different times, and they gave them all these short fields. But yeah, it was like once they actually put them back in their own territory and started to put the screws to them, this offense just went nowhere for an entire half.
Yeah, and you did mention the controversial calls in that game. That's something I wanted to ask you about. It's been, I'm sure, and you've seen talked about a lot over the whole weekend across the board with all the games. What do you think about the calls that there was, like that forward progress call? We'll get to that in a second. But as far as all the other calls, I mean, do you think the refs kind of helped the Vikings kind of get back in this game?
It's possible. I mean, I feel like the 4th and 1 where they stopped Matt Ryan on the sneak, and like I feel like that one was arguably a little bit of a makeup call.
Yep.
Where they had clearly like jobbed the Vikings a couple of times in this game already, but so that one was like, ooh, they did seem to call forward progress on that one like a little bit earlier than he might have, and he eventually like fell over the first down line, but they blew him down early, and then the spot and the measurement and all that, you can maybe say, I don't know, they leaned on the Vikings a little bit, but like
I thought he made it. Yeah, I thought he made that 4th and 1. It was close.
Yeah.
But that forward progress, that fumble, that's something I've noticed a lot this year where, to me, I mean, they got to fix this. I mean, Chris, what do you think about this? Do you think it's been more common this year when you see a running back trying to fight for extra yards, but clearly forward progress is stopped, and then the ball's ripped out, and they still allow it to be a fumble?
I think a lot of it stems from the fact that they're trying to let plays play out, and I think they've swallowed their whistles a little bit because they've had situations where they've blown the whistle too early, and there's been these plays where there's a big fumble and a recovery, but they blew the whistle too early. So I think it's kind of like an overcorrection, like a lot of what we saw last year and the year before when they overcorrected on the holding penalties on the offensive line. You just see a lot of times the NFL will say something, and it's almost like the refs are just like, oh, man, we got to go to the nth degree on it. So I think that's what you're seeing. But
I mean, to me, it's kind of a shot to the offense because you see these guys like these running backs like fight for extra yards, and then they've clearly been stopped, and then you see a guy come in, and if that running back hears, and feels like, okay, there's no way I'm going any longer, you see him pull up, and then the defender's ripping the ball out of his hands. He's weak in grip on the ball, and then the ball comes out, and then you see it. Because it happened to Juju Smith-Schuster this weekend. It's happened to the Chiefs a few times, and that's kind of why I'm a little biased and leaning more towards it, because it's something they need to take. What? Oh,
that's a smallest violin.
Smileless violin. I'm so tired of this shit, man. Oh, my God. This dude and his fucking hate on the Chiefs. It happens across the board. I mean,
no,
these guys...
it does. But the Chiefs won their game. But I feel sorry for people and sorry to keep you in silent over there, Charlie, but I feel sorry for people like the Commanders who should have won their game.
Yeah.
And didn't.
Yeah, the Commanders one was way more egregious.
I agree, man, and that's what I was trying to get across to you motherfucker, on Monday.
Know, I got Chad in a tizzy.
He does. He knows how to get under my skin, and I fucking hate it, man. But, so what do you think about that call where Terry McLaurin tried stepping up to the line, and the ref okayed it? He even tried telling him, yeah, you're good, and then we see the flag.
Yeah, I mean, that one... It's like it definitely looks super damning on the replay. Like it looks like there's obviously some kind of communication between them, and McLaurin thought he was good and whatever. And who knows, what they actually did or didn't communicate. Like the ref thought he was maybe saying something else or whatever. But the pass interference on the one after
that was terrible.
Way worse in my opinion. Like that one seems pretty straight up. Like he's all over that dude way before the ball gets there. And that was. I think that was kind of my thing with the Vikings game too. Is like the first fumble score with like the forward progress. It's like, oh, it's kind of ticky-tacky, and like the forward progress thing is hard, and it's always going to be a judgment call, and it might always be a little bit too early, too late, or whatever. But the second one, where it's like they call them down by contact, and there's a group of bodies, but literally no one in that group of bodies is on the ground. Like everyone is still standing, and they somehow call them down by contact. And so it's like there's some calls where it's you can be a fan, you can be upset about it, but there's been some ones lately that are like obviously really, really egregious.
Yeah.
It hurts the game.
Yeah, we're coming to the point, and I think they've already brought it up. And they actually released a statement on that Curtis Samuel thing earlier today where they said that the line judge may not have been communicating with him, and Curtis Samuel thought he was.
Are you talking about Terry McLaurin?
Oh, is it Terry McLaurin?
It was Terry
I keep
McLaurin.
thinking it's
Curtis Samuel was the guy
one
that got hit in the pass interference.
Yeah. All right, I've transposed the two. So Terry McLaurin said he checked with him, and it does look like he communicates with him.
Oh, yeah.
But they're trying to say that he may have been counting players and not actually. That's what the refs are trying to say. It's super.
Well, I did see a statement from the NFL officiating committee, whoever's in charge of it, and they did correct it. They said that should have been pass interference, and that it should have been it shouldn't have been illegal formation, because he was trying to because the players are allowed, if casual fans out there are listening, they are allowed to step up to the line and check with the referee, am I on the ball or not? And the referee can tell them, no, you're not. Even on the defensive side, they'll tell them you need to back up. But right then, I mean, this is what I was going to ask you, Charlie. Do you think they're doing this? And this is where I'm going to eventually get to my tinfoil hat thing.
A new segment.
Here we go.
Coming.
Yeah, we do a little preview coming. I'm going to get that tinfoil hat coming out. Do you think they're doing this to intentionally spite the Commanders to make Dan Snyder sell the team, just to basically fuck him over?
Now that is an interesting take. I was wondering if we were maybe going to go some angle with the big money in sports betting these days, and the NFL being, sponsored by different betting services and whatnot. But that's an interesting take, that it's the NFL trying to bring down the Commanders because they want Dan Snyder to sell. I mean, that seems a little far-fetched in my opinion, but you always want to search for some explanation on these calls too. And I know you mentioned too, like they can check with the referees, and I feel like I've heard in the past too where players talk about it, where usually the refs will kind of throw you a bone and they'll warn you like once or twice with these really ticky-tacky things like, hey, you're lining up wrong. Like you got to make sure you're at the line or whatever. Like guys lining up off sides and they don't quite realize it. Like usually they'll give them like a heads up once or twice.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, just go right to that and call them on a really ticky-tacky thing that's just this weird formation quirk that's like, why is this even a penalty in the first place? And oh man, yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah, and then to have like one of the most egregious pass interference calls.
Two
and,
of them too.
There was two. There was two.
Yeah,
there's two guys that were. I mean, there was the run in with, I forget who it was, in the back of the end zone. It might have been Terry McLaurin, but then Curtis Samuel was just draped all over.
And even too, when you see that amazing catch that Jahan Dotson had to put him, right
the
there,
one behind the guy.
Yeah, he had an amazing catch. But if you look before he caught the ball, I mean that should have been a defensive. It would have been a declined penalty. But that defender was pulling on his arm, and they didn't call anything. I mean, I saw it across the board. Carlton Davis. I mean, that's just it. This is tinfoil hat or not? But as a casual fan, a guy doesn't know much like myself, is seeing clear as day on TV what's happening. I don't know if you watched the Bengals and Bucks game, but Jamar Chase probably could have had a 150-yard game. But Carlton Davis was doing everything he could, illegal or not.
Him.
Yeah. I mean, dude, he was grabbing him by the face mask, pulling his jersey, and nothing was called. It's just getting so frustrating, man. And I bring this up because I've told Chris before, like, I love football, but as soon as it gets to the point where it looks like Vince McMahon is running this shit, I don't know if I can keep watching it. Yeah, man, it's just
that's the thing. So, yeah, like tinfoil hat or not, it just makes the product worse. Like whether or not the bad call is intentional, it's still a bad fucking call. Like you gotta clean that up.
I think at this point they just need to, and I don't know if this is actually going to fix it, but they need to make the referees full-time referees.
Yeah.
The fact that these guys are,
it blows my mind that they don't invest more money on it. That's maybe the easiest tinfoil hat thing to get on, is that NFL billion-dollar organization that it is doesn't spend more money having good refs.
well, and the fact that you have these guys, like, no offense to older people, but these guys are in their fucking 50s and 60s running down the field watching some of the most athletic people in the world run at faster than they could ever imagine running, and to be expected to be able to accurately, call a play is just ridiculous to me. But
I mean, like you said, they're $1 billion industry. I mean, they're an empire at this point, and I agree with you, Charlie. Like, why not maybe even just include a few more refs? We need more. We need the sky cam.
Yeah, that was the thing that was supposed to come from the USFL was the skybox judge.
Yep.
That I thought was going to be a regular thing,
and we see expedited reviews nowadays, but sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, we talked about it earlier with the Raiders touchdown. Did you see that, Charlie, where the Raiders scored that touchdown and then they reviewed
clearly out of bounds?
Definitely out of bounds. So
yeah, it's especially from that angle. Yeah, from the backside, like for sure, it looks like his toe is on the white line, and it's like you don't have any angles on the other side in that end zone. Like there's no like better angle you can get of that. Like even if you are going to say like, oh, from this angle it's not definitive because it could look like his toe is over the line, but you can't actually see from the backside. Like you don't have a camera on that side of the field. Like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy that there isn't, or like marker like a GPS thing in the ball to show you how far it went. Like, why can't there be like GPS on the both tips of the ball?
The World Cup where they got the VAR and these like graphics they can pull up showing you exactly where the guy was. Like, yeah, you don't have to be dragging a literal pair of chains out onto the field and then extending it to see if you made the line.
I know it. I agree, man. I mean, like we have this technology nowadays where there's a security where you cross a laser and an alarm goes off. Why isn't there a laser on the end zone where if you cross that plane...
Chad's right. We need more fucking lasers.
Bring out the lasers. Maybe a disco ball at the 50-yard line.
We need sharks with freaking laser beams on their heads. That's what's missing.
Put out some tigers, man. I'll tell you, let's just make it more entertaining. At this point, it is just a show, and it's entertainment.
Well, speaking of entertainment...
Yeah, you're really going to get Vince McMahon running shit with all these lasers.
Yeah, definitely. Well, speaking of entertainment, that was one of the most entertaining games I think I've ever watched.
Yeah.
It was super fun, and we're glad that we had you back on to talk about it, Charlie. So.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Thanks for having me. So much fun to be on. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. You really have been a part of a couple of the most entertaining games this year. I think the Bills and Vikings game is definitely up there, and then this one as well. At 33-0, I had I didn't think there was any way that they were going to come back.
Yeah, it was wild.
I mean, yeah, two games of a lifetime in one season. I mean, it's just thank God we're on the right side of both of them.
It's a fun time to be a Vikes fan.
Yeah.
Skol!
For now, we'll see. They have a real bad history in the playoffs, so we'll see how this one ends.
All right. Well, good luck against the Giants this weekend.
Thanks. Yeah. Skol.
Skol.
Thanks for coming on, Charlie. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah. Catch you later.
All right.
Later,
see you,
Charlie.
man. Hey, Alexa, shut off. That was fucking nuts. I can't believe we went back to playing music. That's fucking hilarious.
I kind of like the fact that we both sound somewhat alike, that Alexa thinks that I'm talking to it as you.
I don't know why it thinks that. I mean, it's got to be like voice activated, so I don't know.
It is what it is.
Well, maybe then if you do have a guest spot on, you could just have him call that.
Yeah.
That is true.
So, yeah, we're brought to you by Amazon Alexa. Thank you for tuning in, and give Amazon Alexa a like and let her into your life so she can spy on you.
Because they need all the promotion they can get.
Yeah, Amazon Thursday Night Football. Anyway, so let's move on, dude. We got to get into the Week 15 picks, breakdowns, and deep dives. You got me this week.
I did. So I went 13-16. That reminds me, if you want, we can go ahead and pour this.
I would rather pour. I hate taking shots out of shooters.
No, I wasn't going to do that.
Yeah,
but I'm just saying, if you want to go ahead.
Let's do it. Since you won the whiskey wager, and
we're gonna,
for some reason I get fucked.
Yeah, we're going to start taking this a little more serious.
You get a shot of proper 12, and I get Yukon Jack 100 proof. It looks like pee. It doesn't even look like whiskey.
That's the strong alcohol in it. That's what it is.
But
we're going to start taking this whiskey wager a little more serious. So if he actually beats me next week, then he can get some Canadian Mist, which I know he.
No, it's going to be worse than that. I'm not even going to get. I'm going to get like whiskey,
Everclear.
Like McCormick's whiskey.
That's fine, man.
It's not even real whiskey. It's what do they call it? It's not whiskey. It's something like It's basically like vodka flavored whiskey. Or vodka, or no, whiskey flavored vodka is what it is. I said that wrong. That's what you're getting.
I almost got you flavored fireball type shit, but I wouldn't do that to you.
I might do you with some fireball.
No, do it, because I won't lose the whiskey wager. Because you lost, so you get to place the wager this week. So come up with one, all right?
Oh well.
I've got a prop bet. If you want to take it, I've got it written down here. We'll get to it later, but we'll see. We'll see if you take.
No, I don't like your prop bets because they're skewed towards you.
No,
and then I start drinking, and then I'm like, oh, that sounds like a good bet, and then I take it, and I get fucked. So
now you're catching on.
I'm
to
learning.
My technique.
I'm learning.
Well, you want to go ahead and get this out of the way, and then we'll get to the recap.
I want to smell it first.
It's a full shot, man.
Oh, dude,
you don't have to take all of it.
It smells like, dude, smell it. It smells like paint thinner.
Oh, that does smell strong.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah, I didn't want to just grab some. That was the only thing the liquor store sold.
Here's to the whiskey wager.
Yep.
Oh, you're taking a good shot.
Bullet, right. We haven't done this
That's
one
nice
on the
of
podcast.
You to do one with me.
Well, I only had one shooter.
Well, cheers to you, asshole.
Cheers to me being better at betting. That was full. Need a chaser? For those listening, his face has that skewed look like...
Dude, that almost... Original recipe, my ass. Oh, it's liqueur, dude.
What does that mean?
It says it's liqueur. This is what I was telling you. That this is what you... I'm going to do this to you now.
What did I do?
Because you did what I was talking about doing to you. This is liqueur with natural whiskey flavor.
Oh, no. I didn't know. I just fucking got it.
That's what I was saying. It really wasn't that bad.
Oh, shit.
It just was so strange in the beginning. It's like when...
I didn't know that they can make something whiskey flavored.
Oh, you can flavor anything with flavor.
It does say only the strong survive, so... You know.
I survived, so I guess...
It survived that. Well, I look forward to winning this week, too, so...
You better hope, dude, because just wait.
Well, I'll send... If I happen to lose, and while I'm away on Christmas vacation, I'll send in a video of me doing a shot.
I'm going to tell you what you have to go buy, and you're going to have to go into Parsons, Kansas liquor store and buy some really terrible shooter and do it and send it to me.
That's my name any bet this week, man. And if it's fair enough, I'll win. Because if people are interested, Chris lost in the fantasy playoffs in our league, and I advanced. I can't believe that, man. After you had the best record this season.
Yeah. No, it wasn't. My team picked a terrible time to have a really, really fucking bad game.
Yep.
Everybody did.
I mean, it's crazy because you had Justin Herbert and you were rolling with him all year long, and then goes up against one of the worst pass defenses in the league, and then
8 fucking points.
The bed.
Yeah, so that sucks. I'm out in both leagues in the first weekend of the playoffs. The other league I expected because I was playing number 1. I was playing number 2. Dude, he scored 150. I scored 90.
Oh, wow.
I got murdered. Damn, I expected it to be like
some rough weeks, man. That's fantasy playoffs for you.
Our league, though, I didn't have a good feeling. I told you I was I was underdog in both leagues, and I just didn't have a good feeling. And even if I had no chance of winning.
Yeah.
No matter what I did, there was no, I couldn't have put somebody else in to,
well, that's the best thing.
Stop the bleeding. But
when you don't have someone on your bench that could have saved you, then you can feel okay
lost.
About it.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I was sad for a day. I was just like,
Yeah.
But then I was kind of like, you know what, though? I'm just going to focus on the Nuggets now.
There you go.
Now the Broncos are done. Russ is probably going to play a couple more weeks for no reason.
Yeah.
He's going to try and score more touchdowns than he has bathrooms in his Cherry Creek house. He's got 2 to beat it. He's got 1 to tie it.
Is that where he's living, is Cherry Creek?
Yeah. He bought the most expensive house in Denver. It's like $22 million.
No way. He should have bought Von Miller's house.
Von Miller's house is like half the size of his house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's got 12 bathrooms, and he has 11 touchdowns. That's what we're looking at
all
here.
of Future's kids need to have those bathrooms.
There's only 1 kid, dude. The other 2 are his, I think. I don't really know, though.
Maybe.
They might not be.
That's
You're
awful.
Right. That's terrible. You're a terrible human being.
You fucking talk shit on Brittany and Mahomes all the time. I don't want to.
Because she's the worst human being in the world.
Shut up.
Anyways, yeah. So,
Let's get into the deep dives.
Picks. Chad got 13. I got 12. I lost the whiskey wager. That brings us to Chad's deep dive, which is the whiskey wager. Take us into it, Chad.
Yeah, let's get right into that one.
Flip to your notes. Take us to your thought process.
Legal pad. That wasn't one of the.
It wasn't? I thought you did that one.
No, that was the.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was just I just lost. I lied.
That was the so we okay. If anybody doesn't remember, last week it was the Saints and Falcons game. I took the Saints. You took the Falcons.
Yeah, last week I got confused.
I was a little worried.
Last week
Saints won 21-18, so it was close.
Yeah,
but
I thought the old man rookie was gonna win for
man,
Atlanta, but
I think there's a reason they kept
Ritter
Mariota
looked
in for
bad.
so long because Ritter looked very bad.
he looked like he was already washed up.
I don't even think he hit 100 yards passing.
He might not have. I didn't even look at that game to tell you the
The
truth.
Falcons are in some trouble. But I will get
So
into
mad I
my deep
lost it.
dive.
So yeah, Chad's deep diving the Bills versus Miami.
All right, so the Bills clinched their fourth straight playoff berth. They made an 8-point comeback in the final possession, which led to a Tyler Bass game-winning field goal in a game that seemed scripted out of a movie with the snow starting in the fourth quarter. Like I said, at Saturday, I went to go see Avatar. I made the decision, okay, I'm just going to come out of this, and I'm not going to watch the game, but then when I come out, I'll check it. We're waiting for the Uber, and I'm looking, and it just looks like a perfect football game. Snow coming down in Orchard Park, tied up. I'm like, God damn, this is amazing. So I'm watching on the way home, and, of course, my bubble is burst by the Bills winning. And, Josh Allen had yet another great game. Raheem Mostert for the Dolphins, though, he was the Dolphin that had pretty much the best game. He had 136 yards on the game and 20 yards receiving. But Josh Allen and the Bills went on an 86-yard drive that was 15 plays to eat up the last 5 minutes and 56 seconds. I mean, Miami just couldn't get a stop. I mean, a lot of that was due to Singletary running. And then, like I said, it was capped off by Tyler Bass hitting like a 26-yard field goal or something like that. But Miami did have 405 yards of offense. To note, going into next week's, Mitch Morse did leave the game with a head injury, probably a concussion. I don't think I saw a concussion on the injury report. Some type of head injury, so maybe he'll be back. That's a key because they've already lost a few guys on their offensive line.
Yeah, one of my highlights of the game was them having to stop play and threaten the Bills with 15-yard penalties for the fans throwing snowballs.
That was pretty interesting, huh?
Which, they should have done a little more to clear those seats. Did you see those seats? People
Yeah.
were literally just sitting in fucking snow.
Well, see, that's what I thought, too. My first thought was like, okay, that's kind of fucked up. But then I remember seeing a picture of the game before, like, of the stadium before that, and, yeah, they didn't clear the seats at all.
No, I thought it was crazy. They showed like a picture at 7:30. There's like a foot of snow on the field,
dude.
and then they cut to the field, and I'm like, where the fuck's the snow?
Yeah.
It's like completely clear, and then they cut to the stands. I'm like, oh, it looks like they just blew all the snow into the
That's
into
all
the
they
seats.
did. So, I mean, I don't blame these fans one bit. I mean, would I have been someone to throw a snowball? I probably would have been throwing it at my friends or definitely at Chris or something like that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have thrown it on the field. That's just, a little too much interference. That's like those NBA players that kind of fuck with or NBA fans that kind of fuck with
Oh,
the
we're going
guys
to talk about
course.
that a little bit later. Well, NBA and fans, like NBA player-fan interactions.
You
We'll
talking
talk
about Draymond Green or
Ja, did you see that?
John Morant? No,
Yeah.
I missed
we'll
that.
talk about it. We'll talk
Okay,
about it.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
Finish
But,
your deep dive.
I think that's pretty much all I have on it. It's just the Bills, in its clutch time, they've done it numerous times this year. The Vikings was one time where they slipped up. Charlie loved that. But most times in the clutch, Josh Allen steps up. I mean, the guy is that dude.
He is. I like the fact. Did you see when that reporter told him? Like, he didn't really ask him. He basically just said that he didn't think this offense was good enough to win the Super Bowl. And
Okay.
he's just okay.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
that's fair.
Whenever I heard that, like on
Think whatever you
Thursday,
want.
I was like, well, they're going to win. He's one of those, he's got that DNA, like a high competitor, like a Kobe Bryant or something like that if you give them fuel, they're going to use that and run with it.
And they did. I mean, this was a close game for a little bit. I mean, I thought Miami was going to pull it out, and for all the talk of Miami not being able to deal with the snow,
They proved me wrong.
they were wearing those shirts. Mike McDaniel was out there with that, was it I Like It Colder, or We Want It Colder, or something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was a little too cold.
Well, I hit you up earlier this week, and I was like, who should I start, Jalen Waddle or Olave? And I think Olave only got me like 13 or something like that, and Waddle went off for 20. Luckily, I still won, but, man, I mentioned it because I'm just surprised. I did not think Miami was going to show up.
Well, it's like you said, with Mostert being like, you know, one of the lead guys for Miami, that makes sense because especially in a cold, snowy game, running is where it's at. So it was surprising that Jalen Waddle went off the way he did.
I know. Well, he only had 3 catches, but for 114 yards.
It's nice when you have 60, 70-yard, touchdowns.
Just the speed on Miami. I mean, Raheem Mostert's one of the fastest backs in the league. Then you got Waddle and Hill. It's like, God, it's a track meet.
Yeah.
But Bills pull it off, clinch. You know, they've still got the 1 seed, but they still have to win out. So
yeah,
let's move on.
Let's move on. We'll get to my deep dive, which was Philly at Chicago. So Philly moves to 13-1, and Chicago moves to 3-11. Philly's 25-20 win was all fueled by Jalen Hurts having one hell of a day with a career high 3 rushing touchdowns. He led the Eagles to their record-tying 13th win. The last time they won 13 was in 2004, and that team made it all the way to the Super Bowl. So
with Andy Reid coaching?
He might be going back soon. They handed the Bears their 7th straight loss, which is 1 away from the Bears' franchise record of 8. Hurts is edging closer to tying Cam Newton for the most rushing touchdowns by a QB at 14. He's at 13, so
he did get over 1,000 yards rushing too.
No, that was Fields.
Oh, wait,
Hurts is at 776.
I'm horrible at listening. I thought you were talking about Fields.
No. Hurts, you're right.
Keep talking. I fucked up.
Hurts had 61 yards rushing to go with 22 out of 37 for 315 yards through the air. He did throw 2 interceptions though. A lot of people are chalking that up to it being 18 degrees at game time, which I guess at one point he did make mention of not being able to feel his hands, so maybe a couple balls got away from him. What are you going to do? I think that puts him at 5 interceptions for the year, which is a lot less than a few other people.
Are you talking about Josh Allen? Yeah.
No, I was talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Because Josh Allen has more.
Yeah, he does, but so does Patrick Mahomes.
Fucking ass. Keep going.
Jalen ran for one of his touchdowns with a minute left before half. The second came early in the third from 1 yard out, and he capped it off with a 1-yard touchdown run and a 2-point conversion to put the Eagles up 23-13 with 4 minutes and 20 seconds left in the game. This was a definite battle of the QBs, though, for sure, as both were the big talking points. And what you mentioned earlier was, yes, Fields added 95 yards in this game rushing, puts him at exactly 1,000 yards. He is now the 3rd quarterback since, Mike Vick and Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson to go over 1,000 yards.
Jackson has the record, right?
I think so. I don't know the exact
numbers. I can't remember. I was wondering about that, but it's with 3 games left, it's very likely that he'll beat it.
He's going to have to because that's about all the
well, he even said in a statement, I think, on Sunday or Monday that it's kind of funny, and when I read the statement, it's interesting that he recognizes that they have no playoff hopes. Their season is lost.
Yeah.
He said, well, I'm going for that record. That's all.
He might as well. He also came out and said that he doesn't want to do this every year. He doesn't expect to be at 1,000 yards. And that's one thing about this game. He did go through the air quite well. He had 2 touchdowns, and after briefly leaving the game with cramps, Fields returned with 2:43 left and hit Byron Pringle for a 35-yard touchdown to bring the game within 5. The other touchdown he threw went to David Montgomery, who did have a pretty damn good game, 12 carries, 53 yards, 3 receptions, 38 yards and a touchdown. The Bears couldn't get the ball back, though. Hurts completed a 12-yard pass to A.J. Brown on 3rd and 6 to ice the game. A.J. Brown had himself a day.
Holy shit, he did. Thank God.
No touchdowns, 9 passes caught for 181 yards.
Loved it.
Jesus.
Probably won me my fantasy matchup.
Yeah, well, I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Devontae Smith is proving himself as a legit wide receiver, too, as he had 5 receptions to go for 126 yards. The Eagles' defense, though, was the hero of this game in my eyes, as most of the last 2 games, I think they outscored their opponents by like 30 or something like that. This game, though, was a closer game. The Eagles' defense, Reddick, Sweat, and Hargrave all got 2 of the 6 sacks on Fields as they needed it to squeak this one out. So Fields got hit a lot. That's his problem. I mean,
he holds on to the ball forever.
He does, and that's his thing, though. He doesn't have – his only real weapon is Mooney or Montgomery.
Komet's pretty good, But, I mean, he's really a lot better in the end zone. He's had a lot of touchdowns this year. But, I mean, man, this dates back to Ohio State. That was one of his biggest criticisms coming into the draft.
He's not a very good decision maker.
You got to throw the ball. Throw it away. Do something with it. I mean, that's why he runs so much. He's like,
the guy's got 1,000 yards, so it works to some degree.
Oh, I'm glad we almost forgot about it. If anybody hasn't seen that highlight of him taking that, it was called a touchdown at first, but
he got called back.
Holy shit, man. So it looks like one of the Eagles' defensive linemen has him sacked, tries pulling him down. He gets away from it, spins around, runs to the left side of the field, and then takes off
Just
for
bolts.
50 yards, man. I mean, the guy is fast, elusive. It reminds me of watching Michael Vick. Whenever I was in high school, it didn't matter who Michael Vick was playing or what. These guys that can run the ball change the game, and it's entertaining as fuck.
They can. It's just the longevity, and it's just finding a way to make it work. You're seeing that with Russell Wilson now. He was like the first of those guys that was like the run around, throw it all over the place, make a play that's nothing turn into something, and you're seeing it now with the fall off for him trying to turn into another what he isn't, which is a pocket passer.
You got to mention Steve Young too. I know we're a little younger, but I hear it talked about a lot from older pundits. But Steve Young really was the first running quarterback / passer.
Yeah.
And his career was ended short because of how many hits he took. Yep.
So knocked out so many times. And then Vic, I mean, they say now if Vic was drafted today with the way the defense is being, penalized, he probably would have been one of the greatest quarterbacks because of the way that they're protected now and the way that he could throw the ball. Because that's the one thing about Vic. Everybody thinks he just ran. That dude had a rocket for an arm.
Man, the velocity. The velocity on it.
Everybody forgets that. They think he just ran around. No. And he did that because he could.
And he was left-handed, just like Steve Young. So,
and Tua's the resurgence. Oh,
I mean, if anybody played Madden back in those early days,
you were Vic every day, all the time.
If you played Vic, you're like, fuck you for picking.
It's like Bo Jackson in the Tecmo Bowl days. You always played with the Raiders.
That was a cheat code, man. That was a cheat code.
But anyways, let's move on.
We're both going to cover two other games.
Yeah, we got the breakdown. So we got Dallas versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville,
what
with
an upset!
Dagger.
Oh, what an upset, man!
40-36 over the Cowboys.
The Cowboys cowboying again.
They cowboyed it up, and man, Stephen A. was loving it.
I love it too, man. That's the thing is like I can't stand Stephen A. sometimes, but damn, I love how much he hates on the Cowboys.
It is funny. Let's not harp on the Cowboys at first, though. Let's talk about these Jags, man. Trevor Lawrence, we brought it up last week. He had his second game last week in the last 3 with 300 yards and over 3 touchdowns. This week, he does it again.
Yep.
He's now at 3 out of 4. He goes for 27 out of 42, 318 yards, 4 touchdowns, and he
TDs.
Finally broke his streak of completions without an interception at 204.
Oh, damn.
Had his first interception.
He did go for a while without having an interception, but, for a while there, so the Jags pull off the upset here, largely thanks to the Dallas turnovers. But we have to give huge props to Rayshon Jenkins, and we'll go over him a little later in the show, but he had himself a game. I mean, this safety for the Jags, I mean,
There's
really
no way
lit it up.
CB's getting this many tackles.
No. But at one point, Dallas was up 27-10, and that is the big kicker here. Dak threw 2 interceptions, the last one coming in overtime, which was that pick 6 that everybody saw.
Which Rayshon Jenkins took all the way to the house.
He did. And, I mean, watching it live, I was stunned because I didn't, at first everybody thought it hit the ground, but it did pop up and he got it. It's just amazing because, I mean, going into this, when the Dallas got up, I was like, okay, this game's over. But Trevor Lawrence, did you see the post-game comments that he had?
I didn't know.
It was great because, I'm a devout listener to the Around the NFL podcast, and they brought this up and played the clip where he said, I know a lot of people wrote us off earlier in the season when we lost 5 games in a row. And they admitted they're like, yeah, he's calling us out. That's us. Because a lot of people wrote them off. I mean, they lose 5 games in a row. You're thinking, okay, this is just the Jags of old.
It's Lions.
Yeah, but I
No
mean,
chance.
we saw that with the Lions. But I mean, these guys, Jared Goff and Trevor Lawrence, are having a resurgence, and I mean, this guy's really. And that's what I loved is we've seen Trevor Lawrence for a long time now be so reserved. He's quiet. He's like that sunshine. Remember the Titans type guy.
Yeah.
But
Still a terrible leader, though. I mean, we posted that video of him.
man, that was nuts. He has no enthusiasm. But that's what I like to see. When you call out these people that talk shit on you and just, write you off, and then when you prove them wrong, that's what you're supposed to do. Is tell them, hey, where were you guys?
Yeah.
Like what Robert
Jump on the
Saleh said.
bandwagon now.
I'm collecting receipts.
Yeah.
ETN aided in with 103 yards rushing. He had a decent game. It's really seeming like Dallas losing Anthony Brown might have really hurt them because Christian Kirk and Zay Jones had big games in this game.
Yeah, Zay Jones had a huge game. He's definitely the number one at this point. What did he go for here? Let me see. Zay Jones, 6 receptions, 109 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Imagine when they get Calvin Ridley back next year.
Yeah.
This team's going to be dangerous. I've got them right now pegged as a dark horse to just, have a real resurgence in the NFL and have one of those turnarounds that you don't really see happen as quick as it has.
I mean, think about this coming into next year. I know this is really long future talk, but the Colts next year definitely getting a new head coach. Jonathan Taylor, I would imagine going to be taking a slump. Another
done for the year, by the way.
Done for the year with another ankle sprain. Then you got the Titans that you've got to imagine Derrick Henry as well is going to be taking a step back. He's not the same guy he used to be.
No.
I expected him to run all over the Chargers, and I was fucking wrong. But then with Jacksonville getting Calvin Ridley, I mean, I would expect for them already at this point in the year to be picked as the favorite in that division next year.
Oh, easily. I mean, you got Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley,
And
Christian Kirk, Travis Etienne.
Yeah. And then the Texans are probably going to be taking maybe Caleb Williams number 1, I would say.
Yeah, and that's the thing that they still have a high pick from last year. They're gonna get better wherever they go. So, 2 big things though that I wanted to mention. We already talked about Rayshon Jenkins. I brought it up before the pod. That was his first interception return for a touchdown on any level, all the way down to Pee Wee, which I think is a crazy thing to say. That's nuts. Not to mention he grabbed that ball off his shoelaces, like Chad said, and just crushed all the Cowboys and their fans' hopes and dreams with that win there, which I thought was great because at the time when they won, it stopped the Cowboys from clinching, but with the loss from Washington, the Cowboys did end up clinching. They are in the playoffs, but a few good things for them. Zeke did tie Emmitt Smith as the only backs in Cowboy history to have rushing touchdowns in 7 straight games. Smith still holds the record as he had 1 in each of the last 14 games of the 95 season.
Wow. Damn. Well, that goes to prove crazy how trivial Troy Aikman was during that run. It was all Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, I mean, it was,
Troy Aikman was decent.
That was a really good team. They were all,
Michael
back
Irvin,
then,
Deion
that's
Sanders.
all you needed from a quarterback.
Yeah.
But
you just think about how much they gave the ball to Emmitt Smith.
All right, we got to keep going. Let's move on to Cincy versus Tampa Bay. Cincy ekes this one out after losing 34. Well, they weren't they were losing for a majority of the game. They win 34-23. We both picked Cincy. Joe Burrow, though, didn't have his best game in terms of the stat line, but did have 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers.
Second half really came through.
Yeah, they didn't do shit in the first half. Let me see here. What did I say?
As far as what?
The Bengals were outgained 261-83 and ran 20 plays to the Bucs 40 in the first half.
It's fucking nuts, man. I mean, it really was a tale of 2 halves.
It really was, yeah. And it goes to show you, man, if you just stay at it and keep doing what you do best, you can win games.
I mean, this game was the quintessential story of the young grasshopper surpassing the teacher. I mean, Tom Brady jumped out to a 17-3 lead at half. Cincy's offense was struggling to even get first downs in the first half. I mean, like I said earlier, I had Jamar Chase in my fantasy, and I was just praying, like, come on, do something. And it looked so awful, but I had faith. I did have faith, and I'm sure Alex did as well. And man, in the second half, did Tom Brady just let him down?
Yeah,
4 turnovers,
2 fumbles and 2 interceptions,
all on Tom Brady's hands.
Yeah.
And Brady, it was one of those where anything that could have gone wrong went wrong. He fumbled from a sack. He mishandled a handoff to a running back. 2 uncharacteristic interceptions. One of them was just thrown short because he's 45 years old and should have hung it up last year.
He's going to play next year, so it doesn't matter.
No, he's definitely retiring.
No, San Francisco.
Let's make a fucking whiskey wager. We'll do a bottle on that, dude.
We can't do a long term.
Why not? We have paper
we'll
we can
forget.
write down. No,
We'll lose the paper.
We'll save it on the computer. What's really impressive from this, when I was looking through at the box score, and I did watch this, and I realized it, but then when you see the stats and realizing how, I guess, hard it is, especially for like my team and the Chiefs, to score within 15 yards when they're in the red zone, and seeing how successful Cincy is at it, it's a reason why they are ahead of the Chiefs in the power rankings. They scored within the 15-yard line on the opponent's territory 4 times. 5-yard pass to Higgins, a 3-yard pass to Boyd, 8-yard pass to Chase, and then a 12-yard pass to Wilcox, who was starting because Hurst was out. To me, that is just ridiculously impressive because everybody knows how hard it is to score within the 20. Then you shrink the field even more, and to still do it, I mean, that's scary.
Well, and especially on the road, and this is what's crazy. I mean, the Bengals now are in sole possession of the AFC North at 10-4, winning 8 of their last 9 games, but on the road, Burrow has a total of 21 touchdowns, 19 passing, and 2 rushing, only throwing 5 interceptions in his 8 road starts this season.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy. He's also 4-0 against the NFC South with 14 touchdowns, 11 passing, and 3 rushing.
Well, that's his area of the old SEC, so
he's used to going down there. But then you got to look at the Bucs, and this is one thing that I think is crazy. When you read this, they have lost 3 of their last 4 and are still in first of the NFC South at 6-8.
It's nobody wants to win that division.
No, they're trying to give it up.
I think everybody's just like the draft. That's all I care about is the draft.
We're trying to tank, damn it.
Yeah, we don't want to win, but sometimes we do.
Yeah, so Joe Burrow might have unseated the GOAT, at least in terms of Joe Burrow's, what would you call it, his timeline, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely outplayed him in the second half. I mean, Brady, and, Brady did score more than 17 points finally. But, man, I got to give credit to Joe Burrow. It's just, the dude is Joe cool when the time matters. I mean, it sucks because as a Chiefs fan, he eats us alive.
Especially when he's got those last 2 wins.
Yeah, I know. And, I mean, believe me, it sucks, but to me, I'm an unbiased sports fan, and damn, do I have respect for him.
Yeah, it is. It always sucks. Like, I mean, growing up, we've both hated Brady, but I feel like we've both hit that point now where it's just like it is what it is.
Well, yeah, nobody's scared of him anymore. And
well, I mean, now, yeah, but we reached that point where it's just like the guy's really fucking good. What are you gonna do? Yeah. You can't fucking hate him for being fucking awesome.
No, I mean, when it comes to Brady, no, I've still had mad respect for him, but
I didn't before, but in the last 3 years, I think it really happened on that Atlanta comeback.
Oh yeah,
in the Super Bowl, I was like, this guy's too fucking good.
We didn't even hit on that when we talked with Charlie, but goddamn Matt Ryan,
he
blows.
He
blows
been a part
comebacks
of
more than anybody I've ever seen.
Worst Super Bowl comeback and the worst regular season comeback in NFL history.
I mean, they showed all these different games where he's blown leads.
I almost sent that to you.
Yeah, where it was
like
just
Matt Ryan lost all of these.
It was like 5 or 6 different games. I mean, it's like, dude,
he's up by like 2 scores.
He just needs to hang it up. I mean,
yeah, he's done. Yeah. But all right, man, let's
move on.
We got to get to that musical break, and we're bringing you Fea one last time. The name of this song is Tragedias. So we will be back here shortly. Thank you guys, and stick around.
Here, one sec, Chris. Let's just look this up because I know that
Chad's looking up stuff.
Are playing pretty soon. They have a year-end sale, 10% off all their merchandise. Just want to shout out that for them. They have a tour going on right now. I'm trying to find their upcoming city. Yeah, But just go check out Fea.
Yeah, the 10% off is on fea210.com. That's FEA210.com. So check out this song, Tragedias, and we'll be back shortly. All right, we are back yet again. You just heard Fea. That song was called Tragedias. Chad thought they were playing soon. They actually played on the 17th of December. They're taking a little bit of break for the holidays, but right now they do have 10% off on their website, which is fea210.com. That is FEA210.com. Go there, purchase merch. Find out where you can buy their music. Just go support them. They're an awesome band full of super rad chicks that are, they're putting music out. It's got a good message to it.
Yeah, my dad turned me on to them.
Yeah,
so.
Which is super surprising. We're talking about a bow hunter guy who is listening to basically like a feminist punk band.
Yeah,
which I'm all for. We're all for ladies.
It's great.
The ladies,
they're
without them, where would we be, Chad?
All types of audiences. It's awesome.
We're for everybody.
So we want to roll into the NBA fast break
Before
right
they
now.
do that, though, Chad, you're forgetting something.
I am.
The shot at the turn, which technically this episode we are at the turn. We're over 2/3 through the show. We went a little long in the first half. It is what it is, though. Things happen.
Yep. We had a lot of good
We don't
deep
have that
dives
much
to come
left.
over.
So, and with Charlie, we had really good content. I'll take it any day. I'm not gonna bitch.
He did a great job.
Here is to the halfway point of the show, episode 16, Fringe Fanatics, Chad.
Cheers to you, buddy.
This is a thing now, man.
It is.
It feels like this is just.
Well, we have a following now. You know, we've got listeners all throughout the U.S. and we've got subscribers on YouTube.
Maybe a guy in Germany. I don't know.
I think there's a couple people in Germany.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, let's keep it going.
I almost said something I shouldn't have said live.
Yep. Don't do that. We don't need to get kicked off.
Cheers to Fringe Fanatics.
Cheers, man. I love Bullet.
I wish that was Yukon Jack. I'm not gonna lie. Put a little hair on my chest.
Get into it.
Well, let's get in, man. We're in the NBA fast break. This week, though, I'm not working that much, so this week, there's going to be something that happens for the fast break. A noise, a sound. There's going to be something for it.
I couldn't find a sound bite, but if anybody out there has, like, I mean, I couldn't really find squeaky shoes or anything. Maybe we'll just have to record.
I found squeaky shoes. I cannot find anybody fucking saying the words fast break.
Yeah. I mean,
I Googled it in every way imaginable.
The segment name doesn't even have to be fast break, but we could just, I don't know. There's not a whole lot out there, but maybe we just need to record something.
Yeah, we might have to.
Yeah.
It's either that or we change it from fast break to something else.
Yeah.
We had full court press.
That's so
if
cool.
you got something that's better, let us know. Right now, it is the fast break. So let's get into it. Big news of the week, Chad. What is it?
The Suns being sold.
Yep, they're in the middle of finalizing the purchase of the Phoenix Suns and the WNBA Mercury to the tune of $4 billion. The next highest before that was the Clippers 8 years ago for $2 billion. Yeah, which just goes to show you. I mean, the Broncos sold for what was like 4.65. Things are going up and up. I mean,
Inflation.
this guy's getting two teams. Granted, one's a WNBA team, which unfortunately they're not making as much money as the NBA teams, which sucks, but it is the way it is. But he's got two teams now, $4 billion. His name is Matt Ishbia or Matt Ishbia.
I wasn't sure how it was pronounced.
Didn't hear how it was pronounced, but finally bringing an end to the terrible ownership of Robert Sauver, who we talked about before in this podcast. The amount of allegations of like mistreatment of employees, racist shit, sexual assault allegations that are coming out of the Suns is just
basically the Dan Snyder of the NBA.
That's the best way to put it. He is the Dan Snyder of the NBA in terms of what the best way to compare it to the NFL. This is a thing that is needed to happen. And I'm a little surprised at how fast it happened. I mean, we did talk about it maybe a month or two ago, before the season really kicked off in terms of like this was going to happen, but I'm surprised it's already done. I kind of thought it would have rode out through the season, but here we are. It's being sold. The best thing that could happen in terms of what the owners and Adam Silver wants. So here we are.
Yeah, it's a pretty good move by the NBA. It definitely makes them look a lot better. So he is the CEO of Wholesale Mortgage, which they tout themselves as being the biggest mortgage lender in the United States. Kind of an interesting note on him. He was a former Michigan State player, member of the 2000 national championship team. I don't think he was like a big contributor, but I think he was on the bench or so, but is still on that team.
Matt Ishbia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that he is tied to basketball pretty heavily, and so you know that he's going to be investing a lot into this team, which is already pretty successful. So if they could just cut Chris Paul and move on, I'm sure they would, do a lot better.
I don't know, man. They beat up on the Nuggets last year, so I can't really say much. Suns and 4 guy became a thing because of the Suns, so
they just need to get tougher, man. They're they have a reputation of being soft. I've got a little news take that we'll mention a little here shortly about Patrick Beverley and Chris Paul, but yeah, I mean, they're just soft, man.
We can talk about that in a bit, but yeah, that was a little bit egregious on Bev's part in
big
terms
time.
of where the game was.
Yeah,
but
no, I agree.
Let's get into the East. The Bucks are leading as of tonight. They're in first at 22-8. Giannis goes off again, 42 points, 10 rebounds, and Jrue Holiday pestered his former team, especially Zion, all game.
What is playing? That's my laptop. Sorry about that.
Okay, so tonight we've had two things. Chad tried to shit on me. His laptop's playing shit now.
Yeah, I didn't have it muted.
Holiday had 18 points and 11 assists in a dagger 3 with 1 minute and 17 seconds left to hold off a late surge by the Pelicans to win the game 128-119. Brook Lopez was hitting it from deep for 4 3-points and took advantage in the paint to score 30 points.
Brook Lopez with 3 points.
Yeah,
4
4
3-pointers.
3-pointers.
That's crazy.
Some call him Sideshow Bob. It just depends. Or is it his brother that's Sideshow Bob?
Well, his brother's Robin, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
It might be Brooke. I can't tell. Lopez helped seal the game after Holiday hit his big 3 to put the Bucks up with 1:17 left to go, and then dished it to Lopez for a layup. That was the final nail in the coffin. The Bucks have won 10 of 13 and held big leads for much of this game while keeping Zion at bay for 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. The Bucks take on the rolling Cavs tomorrow night, 12:21. So that should be a pretty good game to tune into. The Celtics are in second in the Eastern Conference. They're 22-9. Rookie of the Year candidate Paolo Banchero scores 31 points, and this guy's name's awesome. Admiral Schofield scores 11 out of his 13 points in the fourth quarter to win 95-92 as the Magic win their second straight in TD Gardens, beating the Boston Celtics. The Magic were 1 out of 11 on the road before winning these 2 straight games. Jaylen Brown did lead Boston with 24 points, and Marcus Smart added another 15 points. The Celtics, though, were without Tatum, who missed the game for personal reasons. Without their leading scorer and rebounder, the Celtics had an uphill battle. They were terrible from downtown as they went 12 of 47 from three-point land. They did keep the game close, and while they were trailing 93-92, Smart did steal an inbound pass and did hit the floor and called timeout. Unfortunately, the Celtics turned it over on the other end, and the Magic put the game away. The Celtics do take on the Pacers on Wednesday, 12/21. Chad, do you have any notes on Eastern Conference teams?
I do have something, and it kind of involves the West, but it's mainly involving the East. How right now, entering Week 10 in the NBA, the West, there are no teams that have won 2 straight going into this week.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, it's just kind of nuts right now with all of it. The reputation in the past 5 or 6 years has always been the West is the better conference. But right now in the East, there's 3 teams that have a winning streak of 6 or more. You got the Knicks, surprising as fuck, with 7 wins in a row. You got the Nets, 6 wins in a row. Then you got the surprise Magic that you just mentioned with 6 wins in a row. You just mentioned 2 straight wins in their home, but 6
Well,
wins.
those are on the road
Yeah.
at Boston, so which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Here's my one thing, though. I think this actually somewhat validates your argument of the West being that good. The East, they're having these runs because inherently the Eastern Conference is not as good as the Western Conference.
That's a good point.
You look at the Western Conference, you've got 5 or 6 teams that are going to be all the way to the end of the year vying for those top 6 spots. Whereas in the Eastern Conference, you're probably going to have 3 to 4 teams that are going to be all right there vying for those spots. But it's a great analysis to come from.
I totally agree. You know, when it comes down to the West beating up on each other, they're bound to, get a win there, lose here, back and forth. But with the East, there's a lot of bad teams to beat up on.
There is. The disparity from the top Eastern teams to the mid-level teams is far greater than the Western Conference. The Western Conference, the whole top 8 teams all could, in theory, finish in the top 3. It's just fighting out for those last 3 to 8 spots. That's going to be the deciding factor of where you're going to end up.
I totally agree with the Nuggets being second in the West right now. Like, you would, if this was at the end of the year, I'd feel pretty good about that. But right now, I mean, in a couple weeks, that could change.
You could
to
be
the
4th.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah. You could drop that far, literally.
They're all right there.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to move on to is the Western Conference, and the Grizzlies are in first, which I brought them up as I think they might be the team to win the West.
John Moran is so good, man.
Yeah, and this is the crazy part about this game, and this is what I brought up earlier, which you did not know about, was Ja did get tossed for talking to one of his fans who was basically having a conversation with him, like going, let's go, Ja, let's go. Well, in response, he said, I'm trying, but these refs.
Yep.
And he got tossed. He later FaceTimed with his dad on the sidelines because his dad goes to every game. And his dad walked over to the fan because they were sitting courtside. And Ja FaceTimed directly with the fan, said, it's not your fault. What you said was fine. I shouldn't have said what I said, and it is what it is. But he ends up getting tossed. He received his first technical foul for complaining about not getting hit in the face. I think it was on a layup he was driving for. And then after mentioning the refs to the fan, he was tossed out of this game. At that point, he had 6 points on 3 of 10 shooting. But the Morant, I said that weird. Excuse me. The Morantless Grizz struggled and lost to OKC 115-109, who they themselves were without Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey. Dylan Brooks did lead Memphis with 32 points, and Jaren Jackson Jr. had 16 points to go with 8 rebounds. The Grizz are taking on the Nuggets tonight, and that is at 8 p.m. We are hopefully going to be done well before that, as it is not even 6:40 yet.
Oh, we're doing good on time tonight. Yeah, that's a big game for the Nuggets, man. I mean, they beat up on the Hornets the other night. We'll get into that here in a second. But, I mean, they've got to beat these good teams whenever they play them. And they play on TNT tonight, prime time. We're having Barkley and Shaq. And Kenny break them down at halftime. So I'm excited for this one, man. I really am.
No, I am. I think right now, at this juncture of the season, this is the game of the year. If you win this game, you effectively move into first.
Yep.
You've got a game over the Grizzlies, no matter what happens.
And Jokic is on a roll right now, and if he can just play good in these high-pressure games, I can feel optimistic.
Which, Chad, I'm going to throw you a curveball right now.
What?
Are you ready for this?
Go ahead.
I think it's time for John Daly
Whoa.
to bring us into the DDOE. We're not even done with the fast break,
A
Chad.
golfer in the NBA?
A golfer in the NBA. Are you ready for this?
I am. Let's do it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to hit you with the DDOE because it's coming at you live right now from the music stylings of John motherfucking Daly himself.
I hit it hard, man. So far, man. No laying up, no holding back. Ain't afraid of nothing, it's a natural fact. I hit it long, man. Till it's gone, man. Keep taking chances, live it large. I hit it hard.
And we are back. You just got a curveball / changeup thrown at you. DDOE coming at you in the middle of the NBA fast break. What the fuck is happening?
We switch things up.
We
Keeping
switch
you on your
things up. We
toes.
have the ability to do that because we are in charge of this show. So you must deal with what we decide. And at this point, this shot goes to Nikola Jokic, a.k.a. the Joker.
Stunting on you guys.
Look at
Look
that
this.
shirt.
Look at this right there.
Uh.
2-time MVP. 2-time.
The least athletic person to be the best at basketball ever in the history of the NBA. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Chad, cheers to Nikola Jokic.
Cheers to the Joker.
Cheers to the Grizzlies going down tonight.
It's going to happen.
And cheers to everybody who's made it this far in the episode. We appreciate
Thanks
you.
for listening. We love you all.
God damn, that was good.
There's whiskey all over my face. I love it.
I feel alive.
Why does he
didn't-
deserve the daily dose of excellence, Chris?
Yeah, let me fucking tell you right now because we got to talk about Jokic.
Please tell me why.
Matching Wilt as the only other player to put up a stat line of 40 points, 27 rebounds, and 10 assists. And let me tell you this, people, 20 of those rebounds happened before the buzzer at halftime.
That's insane.
This
Absolutely.
guy was playing out of his fucking mind. He is the third player with a stat line of 40, 25, and 10, and matching Elgin Baylor and Wilt. And like I said, him and Wilt Chamberlain are the only ones to ever supersede the 27 rebounds with 40 points and 10 assists. Jokic, again, is just doing every single thing possible to prove that he is yet again the NBA MVP.
So a term that really gets thrown around a lot around Jokic right now is a term called voter fatigue, where people know that
Doesn't
he's
exist.
Well, unfortunately, it does.
No.
I wish it didn't. But if you look at the stats, like what we've talked about before, when an MVP is surpassing and improving his year from before, you would think, well, then he's clearly the MVP again.
Let me just tell you this. Chad's touching on a point that he is having a better season statistically than he did last year
And the year before.
The year before when he did what, Chad?
Won the MVP and won the MVP before. Listen, we're frustrated as Nuggets fans.
It's insane.
Chris knows that I joined in on the Nuggets.
Might as well call them the Nuggets, because without that 40, 27, and 10, they wouldn't have won this game. So call them the Nuggets.
There's no doubt, man. I mean, when Jokic doesn't play, I mean, it's a totally different team. So that's why, I came on to the Nuggets about 5 or 6 years ago. I was just
forced it upon him.
Kansas City doesn't have an NBA team, so I joined in on it. Like, okay, I love the NBA, I love basketball.
Yeah.
Let me join in on it. So you welcomed me into the Nuggets family.
Loving arms.
Yep. Just like this. So, and I came on at the right time because they have possibly the best center in NBA history.
I don't want to go crazy here.
Get crazy on.
I don't know.
Let's get Prince
if
in here.
This is nuts. But by the time this guy is done playing, he might be the best basketball player to ever play the game. He might not have the rings because of the team that he was on.
Yep.
But I think statistically, in terms of this guy being a 7-foot center, more or less.
Yeah.
playing the point guard position, which that alone doesn't even make sense. He will be the best basketball player statistically to play the game when he is done. There will be nobody better.
I'm in total agreement of that. I think that when it comes down to what I will agree on is the position. When it comes down to the center position, because when you texted me this stat earlier about Wilt Chamberlain played at a time when he was a foot taller than
A foot and a half.
Those guys
are
you're
like
right.
5'6". They're
And this
white
is
dudes.
coming from a Jayhawk lover. He comes from the Jayhawks, and you know, you would think I would defend Wilt in this, but this is an unbiased take where he is, at the time, he was way taller than everybody else. This is just because of, you know, the times. He couldn't help it, but it is what it is.
That was a freaking nature back then.
He really was. And the NBA kind of let him in when things were a little different back then. We won't get into all that controversial
white
shit.
guys that were
Exactly.
5'6".
It's like Jackie Robinson playing with a lot of white guys. Here's a good take. Babe Ruth playing against all white guys. If they had let black players play back then, I guarantee you the stats wouldn't have been the same.
No, they would not be even remotely the same.
All right. Well, Jokic right now is doing things in a even playing field as opposed to Wilt Chamberlain. And he's blowing the field away. So, you mentioned the game earlier where he had 40, 27, 10, and 2 steals, too.
Yeah, this was the last game.
Yep.
Against the Hornets, wasn't it?
Yeah, against the Hornets, where they put up 150. That looks like an all-star game, 150 points. The rest of the team played good, and that's something that an MVP does. And when you text me today where you were like, yo, I think we should do the DDOE on Jokic, and he sent me this reel where Jokic high fives these young fans. I mean, 5, 6.
He goes down the whole row and then even kisses one little kid on the head.
It's amazing. He's a saint.
Guy doesn't even
He's
care.
a saint.
This is why, though. He does not give a shit what his stat line is.
No, not at all.
This guy is the ultimate team player. If he needs to go for 30 assists, if he needs to go for 27 rebounds and 40
Jokic.
points, look at it.
Look at it.
The most unathletic, unassuming NBA player in league history is the best player to come out in the last 20 years.
I bought this.
LeBron who?
Yeah. I can't stand all the, like, God, it just frustrates me so much because he's the most humble player in the NBA. And this is why I can say this, because Embiid, another ex-Jayhawk, who is always in the MVP talks, last year was the runner-up to Jokic. And you would think me being a Jayhawk fan would, you know, beckon for Embiid to get it. No, because I am unbiased and I want the right MVP to get it. And I hate how Embiid just wants the MVP. But
he talks about it too much.
He talks about it way too much. But
play.
That's an individual award. Jokic doesn't give a shit about that. He wants a championship.
Yeah.
And he wants the rest of his team to come around with him and win it for him.
That's one reason why I like Giannis. I feel like Giannis is that it's these European guys that just don't give a shit about ego. They don't give a shit about themselves. They only care about winning, and that's why.
To correct you a little bit, go ahead.
No,
why?
Say what you're gonna say.
Just not European, international players, because you look at Argentinian players.
Yeah,
like
Ginobili. Oh no, was he Argentina or was he Spain?
Spain. I say Argentina. I don't know why I say it. There's a famous Argentinian. It's fucking dropping me right now. Well, Campazzo was Argentinian. That's maybe the why I'm going to that. But anyway, there are a ton of international players right now that has created an even playing field. And
Doncic,
yep.
What's his name? The unicorn. Oh, he's also at Doncic now. Oh, fuck. God damn, it starts with a P. Kristaps
Porzingis, but he's German. He's still European.
Yeah.
But still,
it's those guys, though. It's a different type of basketball. It's a team sport there.
It's very much a team sport.
Not
and
here.
The NBA has had to evolve instead of playing isolation ball, where it's much more of a team sport. And that's where you see the Nuggets and Jokic excel, because when Jokic gets the ball, everybody just swarms on him.
Now they're double teaming him. That's the thing. They're just swarmed to him.
And then you see him dish it out. And if guys can hit that three, Christian Brown, Jamal Murray.
Contavious Caldwell-Pope.
Oh, man, he had a
Which I
huge
have
game
to say,
the other
I
night.
actually wrote this down. That dude is going down as one of the best free agent signings in Nuggets
Seriously.
history in the last 10 years, probably.
Dude, I'm saying when you hit me up, let's do Jokic. I was like, yes. I think I replied in 2 seconds. I was
Yeah.
like, if you want me to go off on the Nuggets, and this is a biased buzzer beater, this is whatever you want to call it, he deserves the daily dose of excellence, because if you watch this reel, and we will share it, this is a normal NBA guy that's all about himself and just coming through like Russell Westbrook, dressed like a clown going into the game. He is such a humble guy where he won the MVP last year riding a horse
Yeah, and it's fucking...
in Siberia,
Yeah.
getting the MVP trophy.
He didn't even know they were showing up. Malone showed up. He came off the track riding his horse. And
It was so ridiculous,
and
man.
it's fucking... what's it called? The...
It's like a story of Rocky or something. I don't know, man. It's great because of how humble he is. It
He's
wasn't
just a regular dude.
he's
And
so
then,
humble.
his brothers do all the shit talking for him, but yeah,
because
I
they're
mean,
probably part of the mob.
they might be, but
It's fine.
that's the thing, dude. This guy, he needs to be put up on a pedestal because he would never do it himself.
Yeah.
He's not LeBron. He's not gonna go start a super team. He's not gonna go try and team up with everybody else to try and
Yep.
fucking win because you can't do it on your own.
Well,
He's like, you know what? I'll stick with the fucking Nuggets
Because he
and
said
try
that.
and do what I fucking can to make this team.
That's what I love about these international guys is they know how hard it has been to get to the NBA.
Yeah.
So they're not going to go join a super team. So guys like Giannis and Jokic have spoken about that, and they said, "Hey, these guys took a chance on me. The Bucks, the Nuggets. I'm going to
Jokic
stick with
was
them."
a fucking second round pick. Which let me
Crazy.
tell you this: in the NBA, if you're at the end of the first round, you are lucky if you see the court as a second round player. And this guy was drafted in the second round, has become he is the only second round player to do what he's done to this point. So this shit's insane. And he needs to be recognized because he won the MVP last year almost begrudgingly from the national media. They just seceded it to him like, oh yeah, I guess he deserves it. Bullshit. His season last year was better than the one before. And this season's better than the year before when he won the MVP. So to sit here and try and say who's gonna win, nobody should. Jokic should win.
Jokic should win.
Why he is the daily dose of excellence for Week 16.
And he deserves it, like we said, and we'll hit it on it again. We'll share the reel where before and after every game, the Nuggets allow some kids to come in and high-five the players. He makes sure he takes time to do that because it means so much to these kids. And he's not just one of these guys that's like, oh, I lost. Oh, that was fast. Thank you, Hannah.
Oh, thank you, Hannah. You're
I
the best.
see Chris drinks like a fish.
I'm
But
a lush, so
He
I
is.
need to be refilled.
he drinks
quickly.
way faster than me. But
Chad's still half full. I'm dry as a bone.
hey, I'm trying to savor this, okay?
Well-
This yellow jacket. But it's just, I mean, you see these kids. I mean, it makes a difference. You know, they love it. I mean, and he's the 2-time MVP coming through, shaking hands. And you know what's funny? If you watch that reel too, we're definitely going to share, as I said of it before. But I know last week, I think we forgot to share the Nelson Aguilar reel. But this time we will. He acts like he's not going to high-five this kid, and this kid's like, oh, what? And then he goes back there and does it. So he fucks with them, too. It's just, he's funny. He's got a sense of humor. And what the reel mentions, too, win or loss. I don't know how many times LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, name it.
Yeah.
If they lose, no, I'm mad. I'm not going to shake anybody's hands. But Jokic,
He realizes
still,
it's a fucking game.
It's a game, man.
But that's what I'm saying. This guy plays it at such a different mindset than everybody else. We've said it before. He's basically out there with a PhD in basketball, and everybody else is college level. Introductory 101 college level.
Aaron Gordon has said it. His basketball IQ is so much higher than anybody else has played with. And if you watch the alley-oops and the dunks that Aaron Gordon has done, expect it. Every single game, you're going to see a highlight dunk from Aaron Gordon because of Jokic.
My only quarrel and qualm with Jokic is I wish he was a little bit more of a leader. But
Yeah.
that's where Jamal needs to come in.
Yeah,
And
you're right.
I think we saw this in this last game.
You're totally right.
The team needed literally every little bit of that triple-double from Jokic to win that game.
Yeah.
The Charlotte Hornets came back in this game. They had a decent game. It wasn't like an easy win for the Nuggets. And Jamal Murray, who we've talked about having glimpses of good games here and there, had a fucking terrible game.
Yep.
Terrible game. I think he had 6 points on, what was it?
Well, I don't know, but their defense needs to work. I mean,
he had 6 points on 11 assists, and that was it in terms of his stat line. So the bench is just, they're struggling.
I mean, if the Nuggets can just get, hold teams to 110, we'd be all right.
You can't with this fucking bench.
Yeah.
The bench, at this point, they're having to basically stagger Jokic and Murray in order to keep the bench from losing them games.
No, you're totally right.
Because if they didn't do that, the bench would just have these fucking swings of 20 or 30 points.
Right now, we're calling Bones. We're calling Christian Brown out. Step it up. All right.
You got to.
And MPJ, get the fuck healthy. We could go off for an
Seriously.
hour about yourself. Just, oh, God, I fucking hate MP. Michael Porter Jr., get healthy.
I thought Russell Wilson was the worst signing in Denver sports history. It might be MPJ.
No, it's still Russell Wilson. Shut the fuck up, Chris. Okay, the Daily Dose of Excellence goes to Nikola Jokic. I was so happy to award this to him. That's why I wore this shirt, this cheesy-ass shirt that I got from Target, which is like a screen print, silly-ass thing.
I like it.
But it's true. It's true to my heart, and it's true to Siberia.
The guys, if you watch him, if you haven't, just go watch a Jokic highlight reel. Shit will blow your mind that this guy is 7'1", 7'2". I don't even know what he is.
I think he's 7'1.5".
And he plays the game like he's fucking 6'2".
Yep. No look passes, cross court passes. It creates such a joy to watch the Nuggets, and we've gone on for this about 15 minutes, but it is a joy because
We don't have much left, so we can go on for a little bit.
yeah,
But
that's fine. But it's worth it because I mean, Jokic is a humble player, and that's something that I love. I know you're gonna hate this, but it's something that the Chiefs have instilled. Oh, I knew it would come. Humble winning is so key
the
to
Chiefs
sports.
aren't fucking humble.
Oh my
dude.
gosh, no, they are. Patrick Mahomes is not cocky.
I will give you Patrick Mahomes as being humble. Travis Kelce is one of the most flashy wannabe fucking wide receiver
All
tight
right,
ends
now we're getting
I've
off
ever
track.
seen
Now
in
we're
my
getting
life.
off track.
But
God damn it.
anyways,
Jokic. We got to win tonight.
Jokic.
Beat the Grizzlies.
Beat the Grizz because you're in first at this point, and that's what the Nuggets need to do. They need to stay as high as they can in the
and
standings.
the bench needs to step up. The
bench is terrible. So,
all right.
they've got a big test tonight against the Grizz. Ja Morant is back. Let's move on to the
week
Rex.
six-
Oh, we got the Week 16 picks preview. I
Yeah,
almost
let's do
skipped
the
it
rec
again.
at the end.
Oh my god, I almost skipped it again.
Crazy bastard.
right.
Thursday night football. Thursday night with Al Michaels. I love it. Al Michaels.
How
is a
Michael's going to be
legend.
mad. Jacksonville's going to win this game.
Yep.
Mike White
Whoa.
is out.
You got Jacksonville to
I
win?
got Jacksonville for sure.
Well, then write this down. I've got the Jets
You want
to
to make
win.
this a whiskey wager? All right. let's do
Whoa, dude, you were going way too early on
it.
this
No,
shit.
you just said it.
You get to make the whiskey. If you want to make the whiskey wager, you're the one that lost the last 7
This
whiskey
is the whiskey
wagers.
wager. It's not 7, but yeah. This is the whiskey wager.
Well, fuck yeah, let's take it. I'll take the Jags, man. Trevor Lawrence all the way.
No, I took the Jags.
You just said the Jets are going to win.
No. Did I?
Yes, you did.
Oh, we might have to do a replay. So I think Jacksonville's
I
going to
misheard
win.
you. I think the Jacksonville's going to win, too,
so
because
this
I don't
can't
have
be the
any
whiskey
faith
wager.
in the MILF
All right.
hunter, Zach Wilson. I don't
So
have
that's
any
not
faith.
the whiskey wager. We both got Jacksonville. Moving on to Buffalo at Chicago. At the time that I printed this off, Buffalo's minus 9.5. I'm sorry, minus 9.5.
Yep.
What do you got them at?
All right, so in a few of these games this week, this is big news. This is why I love football, because this
Was it
time of the
minus
year...
18? Or
You
something?
talking about the temperature?
Yeah.
That's what I've got written down here, because this is why I love football, because it's outdoors, and they have to fight through. They're warriors that have to fight through the temperature. There's like 6 of these games that have to fight through some cold temperatures. This is one of them. So, in Chicago, it's supposed to be -11. That's fucking cold. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. Over-under. This is one of those prop bets that I talked about earlier in the episode. What do you think? Maybe you'll change your whiskey wager.
Maybe.
I think Justin Fields' rushing yards himself will be higher than the Bills' total team rushing yards. That's Allen, Singletary, and Cook, and everybody else. What do you think? What do you think?
So you think that Justin Fields is going to have more? I'll take that if Justin Fields is going to have more.
I think Justin Fields
So
will
then
have
that's not
more
a good
rushing.
whiskey wager. So we're agreeing.
So you're agreeing
I
that
agree,
Justin
yeah.
Fields. Okay. So, yes, Justin, it's going to be a high rushing affair. This is going to be a low scoring game, but I'm still taking the Bills. They're favored at -9, -9.5.
The Bills are favored. Yeah, no.
Cold game this weekend.
This is not the whiskey
Climate
wager.
change is real.
I think Buffalo will also win. Let's move on to New Orleans at Cleveland. I've got Cleveland. What do you got?
I've got Cleveland as well. I mean, Nick, this is another cold game, -9 right now.
If you look at all these games on Saturday, I think the majority of the starting
At 11
temperatures
a.m.
is like negative.
It's cold as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're supposed to on Thursday in Colorado get -50 wind chill at night.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And we're supposed to leave for our Christmas trip
Good luck.
that day. So, yeah, good thing we got heat in the Lexus.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, I've got the Bears picked as well. This is going to be...
So we're at New Orleans at Cleveland.
Yeah, I've got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt having a big game here.
Cleveland's going to win, so we're both
Well, you
good
think
there.
the Saints are used to playing in a dome. They're not going to be used to this cold.
No. Moving on to Houston at Tennessee. I've got Tennessee riding the ship
Oh, yeah.
against the terrible Houston Texans. Looks like me and Chad are both right on
It's
that
supposed to be
one.
5 degrees in this game, but, you know, when Derrick Henry sees Houston Texans on the slate, he just grabs a fork and he grabs a knife and it's like, let's fucking eat.
Maybe.
He needs to get back on track.
I'm telling you, man, when you have a year like he did the year before, it's hard to come back from that. It's just hard to keep it going. Moving on to Seattle at Kansas City. I've got Kansas City. What do you got, Chad?
Wait, I didn't. I think the headphones messed up. Chris, can you say that again?
Oh, I've got Kansas City against Seattle.
Dude, God damn, these headphones, I just can't, can you just...
I've had Kansas City pick for the last 3 weeks, you asshole.
I'm sorry.
Fuck you.
I'm a fucking drunk asshole. I'm sorry. But, yes, Kansas City's
So
favored
Chad's
by 9.
picking Seattle.
Nope.
Moving on to
Okay,
New York Giants
listen,
at Minnesota.
You're skimming over this too fast. Okay, we gotta.
Why?
Because we gotta hit on a couple points on this game, and all these games. Let's just hit on a couple points.
Oh yeah, of
all right?
course. On the Kansas City game, we
Oh,
have
my
to
God,
hit
I'm
on a
talking
couple
about all
points.
these
Yeah,
games.
Jesus Christ. All right,
Tyler
Gush on
Lockett
the
broke his finger the last game.
he's done.
Listen, the reason why I mentioned this is because if Tyler Lockett was in this game, I'd really make this a close game.
okay.
But McCole Hardman is back, so I'd say we finally cover the spread in this game.
I don't know if you're gonna
It's supposed to
cover
be
this.
6
I don't know if
degrees.
you're gonna cover the spread. I could see this game being a 7-point game. I'm not gonna make this a whiskey wager, but yeah, I got Kansas City winning.
Okay, damn right you do.
Moving on to New York Giants at Minnesota. I got Minnesota.
I've got Minnesota. They're favored by 3 points. I think they finally get back on track. Their defense still has a lot of holes, but Barkley seems to be healthy again. So this is going to be a close game. I would take the over in this. I think.
What do you? Excuse me. What do you got the over at?
Damn.
What's
nice,
that over?
son. Nice.
Good pull. What's that over? Good push.
Well, it's -3 right now. I think the Giants make it a 1-point game, honestly, man. I mean, they just got a lot of fighting in them because they know they have to get that wild card spot. And Daniel Jones, it's just the Vikings defense is so weak right now. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, Vikings are still going to win because I think that they're going to pull it off over the Giants. So you're going to Minnesota too?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to Cincinnati at New England. I've got Cincinnati. New England just does not have the offensive firepower to pull this off. They're fighting over what even is going on the offensive side of the ball.
Hey, listen, we forgot to mention this earlier. This was
the worst play in
craziest
NFL
play
history.
in maybe NFL history.
The worst.
Ramondre Stevenson's tied 24-24. I'm playing rummy with Hannah at the, end of the Pats and Raiders game, thinking, okay, this is just going to go into overtime. Ramondre Stevenson runs the ball for about 35 yards.
Jacoby Myers, what are you doing?
And Jacoby Myers panics and says, "Oh, I didn't see Chandler Jones
I'm
there."
just going to throw it right to him.
And throws it right to him. And then Chandler Jones stiff arms Mac Jones into Middle Earth. And I think Mac Jones is still on the field.
He
Is
might
anybody...
be in China. I don't know. He might have actually stiff-armed him all the way into
fun.
China.
That was great. Because Chandler Jones stiff armed him to a point where I think Mac Jones is still waking up from it.
If you're a quarterback, just lay down. Don't even.
We saw it a couple weeks ago.
If that's going to be your fucking try for tackling somebody, just lay down.
Don't even do it.
It's a joke.
Jacoby Myers fucked up, threw the ball away. It was the craziest play probably in NFL history.
It's one of the worst.
Yeah.
I don't know about craziest. There's probably crazier plays that have
there's
worked.
craziest ones, but I mean, it's just nobody expected.
Why?
Well, if anybody hasn't watched the
you
play,
doing a lateral?
Ramondre Stevenson, if he
Chad.
would have tried,
Chad, why are you even lateraling?
Exactly.
Why?
Ramondre, everybody's blaming Myers, but if Ramondre just tries to break
fell down.
No. If you look at the play, if Stevenson just tries to break a couple tackles, he probably could have made a touchdown.
No. The game's over, Chad. Just fucking fall down and go to overtime.
Go to overtime. I agree. But I think that's going to cause
What are you doing?
A frenzy in the Pats locker room. Mac Jones already hates the coordinators.
You don't think it caused a frenzy for those fucking assholes to try and do a fucking lateral play? The game wasn't over. If you fall down, it's tied.
Yeah, I know.
And you go to overtime.
You only do that if you're losing.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Well, that's why I think it's going to cause a frenzy in the overtime. It
was on the players. The players did that.
No. There's no way Belichick called that or any coach. That's fucking panic. That's what that is.
Yeah, it was terrible.
So Cincy definitely rolls in this one. They're favored by 3.5. They'll definitely cover.
All
Pats have.
Chad's got Cincinnati. Moving on to Detroit
So
and
you
Carolina.
have Cincinnati too.
We both have Cincinnati.
Okay, you said me.
I did because I already said I had Cincinnati. I'm stating that you
We're
had
gonna
it.
come across
okay?
this fucking table.
You
Dude.
better not.
Do it.
All right.
Do it.
Detroit at Carolina. I've
do you
got
got?
Detroit, dude. They're gonna go to 8-7.
I pray Detroit makes the playoffs. I'm loving their season right now. They are the story of the
They
NFL.
are the Fringe Fanatics team.
They are.
We called it.
Detroit, come at us. Please find us. We are sponsoring you guys. We love the Detroit Lions right
Get us
now.
in.
You are the underdog teams that we want you to get to the playoffs and just beat whoever you go into.
Yeah, just win one playoff game for fuck's sake. That's all you
That'd
gotta
be
do.
awesome.
You guys are heroes.
Yep.
Heroes.
They're favored by 2.5. I think they're easily going to beat the Panthers because I think the ownership's going to come down to the Panthers and tell them, listen, don't fucking win any games. We need a draft pick.
We need something. Just stop. All right, moving on to Atlanta at Baltimore. I've got Baltimore. I don't care who plays. I think even if it's the third-string Baltimore quarterback or Tyler Huntley, I think they will beat up the already washed-up Desmond Ridder.
Oh, God,
who looks like
bad.
he's 39 years old.
It's crazy. He was so good on Cincinnati, but college is definitely a lot different than NFL. This is another temperature game that I have written down. It's supposed to be -7. So get ready for your testicles to jump up into your body. -7.
Yeah, this is going to be a running game all the way.
No doubt.
Don't expect a lot of passing if that's what you're hoping
J.K.
for.
Dobbins should have been started last week. Yeah. So Ravens, I've got picked as well. They're actually I don't have the over/under written down. What do you have?
It's at 6.5, but I think if Lamar isn't playing, it's probably going to be closer to 3.5.
He did not practice today to give you guys
0.5.
on Tuesday. He did not practice.
That's a big thing. I mean, if you got to be practicing by Wednesday. If not, you're a game time decision for sure.
Let's move to Washington. These are all Saturday games. I'm sorry we didn't mention it, guys. There's only 3 games on Sunday on Christmas Day. So another game on Christmas Eve. Washington at 49ers. The 49ers are favored by 7 points.
I've got San Francisco. This defensive alone. I can't remember what the exact number is, but in the second half, they are allowing next to no points.
That's nuts, man. I mean, they're fucking historic right now.
This is one of the best defenses in the last probably 7-8 years, next to the 2015 Broncos and the 2002 Ravens.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, they're really good. This
team, if they win it all, they will be in that same area.
I would expect Christian McCaffrey to have a good game.
Yeah, I've got San Francisco. Chad's got San Francisco. Moving on to Philadelphia, Dallas. You got to go pee? Yeah. Oh, my God. This is the first time that Chad's had to go pee. So we're moving on to Philadelphia, Dallas. Man, I've got Philadelphia to win this one. I don't really see how Dallas is going to win this, especially after that terrible game they blew last week. To sit here and think that they're going to come against a team that is now leading the division and they're going to win, I just don't see it happening unless Jalen Hurts doesn't start, which there is a possibility that he might not start. He could be hurt and out for this week and next week, but I just see him showing up and starting and finding a way to make, the kind of hero story where the guy with the sprained shoulder comes in and ends up leading his team to a win. Because I just don't think that the Cowboys have the offensive firepower to overcome the Eagles. I mean, you look at with A.J. Brown on the Eagles, you look at Miles Sanders, and you look at all the guys that they have, and just Jalen Hurts on his own, running the ball, passing the ball. That's not something.
I'm back.
Chad's back. That's not something that Dak does. Dak is, if he can't throw the ball, he's not really going to run it, because after last year when he ran it and he got his fucking leg snapped in half, he's now just kind of trying to stick in the pocket, and I just don't really see him having the opportunity to overpower the Eagles. So I've got the Eagles in this one. Chad, what do you got?
Wow, that's awesome, because I have the Eagles picked as well, because I think the Eagles defense wins this game. Minshew or not, I expect probably Hurts to play because he's a super high competitor. And when it comes down to it, this is such a big rivalry game. I don't think he's going to miss it. But I have written down, even if he doesn't play and the coaching staff and owners keep him out, the Eagles defense will keep him out of this because the Cowboys choke under pressure.
Yeah, no, and this is the one thing that I dropped something. It's too late now. I dropped the cap.
Keep going.
It's just with Hurts, you're looking at a guy who, if he does not play these last two games, he won't win the MVP. Mahomes will, because Mahomes will stay on track to get what he normally gets. And I'll secede that right now. Mahomes will win the MVP if Hurts does not play these last couple of games. If Hurts does, Hurts will win.
And I conceded that as well.
Because there is no way that Mahomes will supersede what Hurts does these next two games to win the games. That's just my viewpoint.
I'm not going to get on to this digress MVP talk, but I know you're setting me up for, you fucking baiting bastard. I know you're baiting me into this MVP talk.
I'm not.
No, you are. You are?
I'm not.
You're a fucking bastard.
Well, we got to finish this.
Let's go on to the... I've got the Eagles picked as well. I really hope they beat the Cowboys at home. That would be so satisfying on Christmas Eve. Let's move on to Saturday night. A horrible game. Raiders at Steelers.
I got the Raiders.
Really?
Yeah, the Raiders are going to win. I think the Raiders will miss the playoffs. They will be like the second to last wild card finisher. But the Raiders will win this game against Pittsburgh. I think overall as a team, the Raiders are just better.
No, I agree with that. But I think the Steelers are playing this game purely for Mike Tomlin. This is like a remember the Titans, like they're playing for their coach type thing. Like they don't want to lose at all. Whether in Najee Harris, I mean, we proved last week with the Pats, Ramondre Stevenson running all over the Raiders in Las Vegas. I've got the Steelers picked in this. They're favored by 3.5 or by 3. I'll take the Steelers. Do you still want to do the whiskey wager?
Whiskey wager right now.
This is the whiskey wager.
Yeah.
Fuck the Raiders. I'm taking the Steelers. Come on, Steelers. Don't let me down.
All right.
I know he's going to pick out a shitty whiskey for me.
Yeah, it's going to be the worst thing you could ever imagine drinking. All right, moving on to Green Bay at Miami. We're on to Sunday. This is the 1 o'clock game. I've got Miami beating up on Green Bay. I just don't think Green Bay has the firepower to win. And I think they're just going to lose.
I've got Miami picked as well. The Packers don't play whenever it comes. They don't play well whenever it comes to tropical weather. Packers' run defense is really suspect. We even saw that with Cam Akers running all over them last night. So yeah, I've got Miami. They're favored by 4.5. I would probably take the over in there. I think they're going to get back to whenever they're home, they can throw all over the field.
All right, well, we're both on the Miami Dolphins. The next game is Denver at the LA Rams. I'm taking Denver just because I think Denver's a little bit better than LA. I got to go pee, though. So, Chad, talk on this one for a bit.
Okay. What I've got written down here is nobody cares about this game. So, I've got the Rams picked. Chris has got Denver picked because he's biased. Like I said a couple episodes ago, Baker's up and down. And this is a game, last week we saw him down. This is a game where he'll come up. Denver going to LA, no, I don't see him winning. I think the Rams defense comes through in this one. Moving on to the next one, we got Tampa Bay at Arizona. Another note I have here, nobody cares. The Christmas Day slate, the schedule makers, figure this shit out, NFL.
Well,
Tampa
I know
Bay.
Chad was talking shit about the Broncos.
Oh my God!
But I just want to say one thing.
That was the fastest pee ever.
We did win last week, and it was with Brett ripping, and he let it rip. But God damn it, we got to win. That's why I got my Broncos hat on. I got my Broncos shirt on.
We're not uploading the video this week.
When you have only 4 wins, you have to celebrate the little things in life. And that's why I think the Broncos will beat the Rams this week, because the Rams are worse off than the Broncos as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we shall see. So we are doing the whiskey wager on the Raiders and Steelers. That's what we're going to roll on, right?
Yeah, I've got the Raiders winning.
I can't wait to give you the shittiest fucking whiskey
No,
out there.
it's not going to happen.
go
Okay, so
to a
let's
gas
move
station.
on. Tampa Bay, Arizona. I've got Tampa Bay picked in this one.
I've got Tampa Bay picked as well. Trace McSorley, which is a guy that sounds like he's in the Olympic trials for snowboarding. That's what his name sounds like.
Sound like snowboarding, man.
He does, doesn't it? Trace McSorley.
He's definitely probably going to start. With
Colt McCoy.
McCoy getting a head injury, a concussion.
Yeah.
I don't really see him playing, and what's the point of starting him? You might as well see what you have with Trace McSorley and just, either cut him or decide to keep him around. So,
then after
Tampa Bay's going to win this game.
Yeah, with after the game that Tom Brady had last week, I could see him being super pissed off and trying to make up for that. Good weather there in Arizona as opposed to the rest of the nation. So
that might be the only game with positive temperatures this weekend.
Yeah, I wish I lived in Arizona sometimes.
I don't. It's too fucking hot. Moving on to the Monday night game, December 26th. Granted, these last 3 games were all on Christmas Day, so if you didn't get good presents, you've at least got these 3 great games to watch.
Yay.
Yay.
What's the Monday night game,
Monday
Chris?
night game, LA Chargers at the Indianapolis Colts. I've got the Chargers locking up their postseason berth against the Indianapolis Colts because the Colts suck. And if it doesn't matter how much of a first half lead they have, they will lose it. So
I agree. I do think the Chargers win this game. Jonathan Taylor is out for the season, which was announced today. It's not much of a question here. The Chargers will win this game. What's the spread?
What I have printed, it's 2.5, but I think by Sunday, this will be double.
Oh, I
it should
bet
be
it'll
at
move
least
to
a
4.5.
Yeah, it one score for sure by the end of Sunday. So
okay, so the Chargers more than likely will win. Write down your picks, guys, from what we picked, and make your money because we really know our shit.
Yeah, so far the last couple of weeks, man, we've been right there. I mean, you're talking over 75% we're getting right. We did have that 1 week there in the middle where we didn't do that good, but I mean, it's bound to happen in the NFL. This has been a wild, crazy year in the NFL. So.
I love it, man. Seeing these teams like the Lions and the Jags finally come up and redeem themselves has been great. It's been a good story. I have been waiting, what is it now, 20 plus years for Brady to finally see a slump. So it's satisfying just in that. So let's move on to the rec center and play some pickup ball. Chris, do you have a recommendation for the listeners out there?
I do, and this is a musical recommendation. This is a band that came from the band that made me get into music, which was the Heart Attacks. Me and my buddy Jason Alderson, I want to say is probably 15, 16, maybe longer than that years ago. I was probably 19 when we went. Maybe a little bit before that. We might have been 18. We went and saw Social Distortion at the Belly Up in Aspen, and the opening band was the Heart Attacks. And this was the band that made me decide that I wanted to play rock and roll for the rest of my life and flounder at being a musician for the rest of my life. So the band that stemmed from this is actually now called they're called Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. Tuck Smith was the lead guitar player in the Heart Attacks, and to this day, I still interact with these people. The guy that was the lead singer of that band still comes out once a year for the big what's it called right now? Oh, the Rocky Mountain Ripper is what it's called right now, which is a big rock and roll festival in the Midwest, where a bunch of bands from all over the U.S., mainly, I want to say. Georgia, Baltimore, those areas come out to the Colorado, and we all party and have a really good time. And this band, Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts, stemmed basically from what made me get into rock and roll. And they're a really good fucking band, and they've gone through a lot of trials and tribulations in terms of like record deals and shit falling through. So if you get a chance, go check them out. They did just release a full-length album. The name is Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. You can find them all over social media and Spotify at Tuck Smith and the Restless Hearts. So that is my recommendation for the Rec Center. Chad, what is yours?
Very nice, Chris. I'll have to check them out. That sounds pretty cool. I can't believe you went to the Belly Up,
but it is what it is.
Before we go to mine, I always got to bounce off yours. So you went to the Belly Up? I've never been there.
It is a really cool venue. Me and Jason, we weren't 18. This is why I know this, because we were barely able to get into the venue. My mom had to actually rent us a hotel room for that night because we were not of age to actually do that. So my mom rented us a hotel room. We drove all the way out there. We went to go see Social Distortion. That was one of my
little man's creeping in on us. I was like, who's coming in on us? What's up, little man?
So yeah, we drove all the way up there and went to go see Social Distortion, which was my favorite band at the time. And the opening band fucking blew my mind. And here I am, decades so later, and still doing this shit.
That's fucking awesome, man. I never knew that. Yeah, I've definitely, of course, listened to Social Distortion a little bit, but one of my favorite bands have always played at the Belly Up, and it's been one of my favorite sets.
STS9?
You know it.
I knew it.
Yep. So I've always wanted to go to Belly Up. That's pretty cool. So I didn't know you'd been there. That's awesome.
It's a great fucking venue. I'd love to play.
Very intimate, small, right?
Yeah, it's definitely intimate and small. Little man's still in here.
Yep, so we've got my little dog, Little Man, right here, little Maltese Shih Tzu. He is the Fringe Fanatics mascot. We'll have to upload a picture of him because he is the coolest dog. Little good dude.
My stuff, but it's fine.
Yeah, so my recommendation for this week is a new stand-up special that was released by Tom Papa. It's called What a Day. It's on Netflix right now. So when it comes to, I got to disclose, I'm a huge fan of stand-up comedy. Probably seen over 20 stand-up shows, maybe more live, and I wish it was more, but when it comes down to it, I haven't seen Tom Papa live, but one of these days I would like to. He's a guy that I've listened to on a number of podcasts from different comedians that I listen to, and he's always been funny, and I've always thought he was pretty funny on the podcast, but then when I finally watched a special of his, I was like, wow, He's really fucking good. Because when it comes down to stand-up comedy, there's a lot of comedians that pull the raunchy card and do the shock and awe. And he's one of the few, like Jim Gaffigan, Sebastian Maniscalco, and a few others that do clean comedy. And Tom Papa's one of those that do it to the T. They do it really well to where you don't have to do raunchy, a lot of vulgar jokes, to where you can recommend it to your mom. And Tom Papa does it to the best. And when I looked into it, he's got like 3 other specials on Netflix that are totally worth checking out.
Yeah, I haven't watched a new one, but I watched his last one. I think it was called Spicy Honey or something like that.
The last one was called You're Doing Great, or something like that.
Okay, I could be wrong. It might have been the one before that.
Yep.
Yeah, I do like the clean guys. It is one of those things, though, where I do just find myself liking the dirty dudes a lot
same
more.
here.
But it is always nice, and it makes you realize like how hard it would be to not cuss for an hour.
Yeah.
And be speaking and being funny, because, like, I mean, especially with us here at Fringe Fanatics, a lot of our punchlines come off of the you know.
Oh, it's hard to be clean.
Yeah, it's not always
It's
clean.
tough.
It's easier to be dirty and get the punchline across. So anybody who can do that shit and be clean, I always give credit to. But I do like the guys that are a little bit more dirty. But that's just me.
That's the way I lean as well. But that's why I have respect and want to recommend someone that can be clean and still kill it as much as Tom Papa. Check him out. He's a guy that's been in comedy for probably 30 plus years. Underrated. Not a guy as famous as Dave Chappelle or Bill Burr or anything like that, but a guy that definitely deserves the notoriety just as much. So
Yeah,
check it out. What a Day on Netflix, just released.
Tom Papa's What a Day. And that brings us to the end, man. We are here. It's the end of episode 16.
Chris, it's been fun, man. 4 months into this, dude.
4 fucking months, man. It does not feel that way, does it?
And no, it doesn't. I've seen your face weekly for 4 months now.
Yeah, and at one point it was every day at work, and then there was a long break. And now it's every week, and it doesn't feel like anything at all. You know, it literally feels like 16 weeks ago we were doing our first podcast. So
it's crazy how fast it flew by, and I don't know about you, but I have high hopes that this is just going to continue rolling on because, obviously, one big centerpiece in our show has been the NFL, and it's going to come to a wrap here in about another month or so, about a month and a half. And after that, we're going to roll hard into the NBA.
Yeah.
We're going to get into the college basketball a little bit.
NHL, college basketball.
UFC.
We're going to hit everything hard.
Yeah. We're going to hit it hard just like our man, John Daly
told us to do it, which
exactly.
is hit it hard, man.
Chris, it's been fun, buddy.
Oh shit, should we pour another shot?
I don't see why not. That's what our show's all about.
One more shot. Chad, pour a shot.
Let's get into this.
In the meantime, I'm gonna talk to you guys, you people out there in YouTube land or Spotify, Apple Music, whatever the fuck you're listening to us on. I'm talking to you guys right
Give me
now.
your shot glass, Chris.
You guys are the ones. I don't even care that it's not as much as we would like, but it'll never be as much as we like because we want everybody to listen to this goddamn show. So at this point in time, those of you that have been here, we greatly appreciate you. And we just want to thank you for sticking around. And if you can, just tell one person that might give a shit about this show and let them know that they're missing out on something great because this is what we feel like it is. We feel like we're on to something. And we want you all to be a part of it.
And let's give a few shout-outs to our hardcore listeners, to our biggest fans. Chris, what's his last name? Your nephew, Alex?
Alex Taylor.
Taylor?
He might be our first co-host guest.
It probably should happen. I feel like
I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah, I would be happy if he took my seat right here virtually.
That's the plan.
Let's give another shout-out to one of our... I'm going to give a shout-out to some of our most devout listeners. Samir, thank you for giving us a lot of listens out there, a lot of criticism, and a lot of good content.
Really good content in terms of just jumping on the show, man.
And live. He was on our live stream. Yep. Let me give a shout out to my beautiful girlfriend, Hannah, for letting me host in our podcast studio.
We owe a lot to Hannah.
Dinner every night and having it ready for after I'm done. And to Chris's girlfriend, Meryl, for just being the awesome.
Yeah, both
partner.
of our girlfriends for allowing us to basically go hang out with our buddy and act like we're doing something important. Thank you to Meryl and Hannah. You guys are the best. It's nice to be able to do this, man. This is something that we did anyways, and now to be able to do it on an official level just makes it feel that much better.
I mean, man, I was watching games, NBA, NFL, pretty devoutly before this, but now I can kind of say, you know, when she's like, "Oh, who are you watching tonight?" I'm just like, "It's this. It's homework."
Doing homework.
Thank you. Cheers to that, brother.
Cheers
We're
to
gonna make profit off this eventually. I got faith,
Profit
man.
off homework. So here's to you guys. Thank you guys. If you're listening right now, cheers to you. Please go like, subscribe, share, and follow anything we do. We greatly appreciate you guys.
The Fringe Fanatics.
You are the Fringe Fanatics, and without you, we would be nothing. Here's to Fringe Fanatics, Chad.
Take a shot with us.
I'm so glad we did this, man. This has been great.
Good times. Love you, brother.
I love you too, man. We will catch you next week. It will be a different episode of Fringe Fanatics, but we'll be here. Chad will be gone.
I will be out, so happy holidays, and I hope you have a great Christmas, and happy Kwanzaa, and happy Hanukkah.
Happy Kwanzaa, happy Hanukkah, happy whatever you do. We love you all. You guys have a great night. Thanks for listening to Fringe Fanatics.